It is said that the kingdom of heaven is not a place you travel to, but a state of being you awaken into. What if this is the one foundational truth upon which all others rest? And what if the key to this kingdom was never lost, but merely hidden in a place no one thought to look, concealed not behind stone walls or in buried scrolls, but within the very fabric of your own consciousness? For centuries, you have been taught to seek salvation outside of yourself, to look to the sky, to follow prophets, to obey laws written by men who claimed to speak for God. You were taught that divinity was a distant, separate power, something to be earned, something to be worshipped, something you were fundamentally cut off from. But a different whisper has always persisted, a secret stream flowing beneath the great river of dogma, a whisper that says, the greatest temple is your own body, the most sacred text is the rhythm of your own breath, and the only savior you will ever need is the spark of infinite intelligence that is already looking out through your eyes. This is the heart of the Gnostic path, the path of Gnosis, which means to know, not to believe, not to hope, but to know, directly and intimately, the divine reality of your own existence. This journey we are about to take is not a lesson in history. It is an activation of a forgotten wisdom. We will walk a path illuminated by a figure who has been shrouded in mystery and misinterpretation, a figure who represents the silenced voice of the divine feminine, the intuition that was deemed heretical. We speak of Mary Magdalene, not as the woman of official story, but as the archetypal keeper of the inner teachings, the one who understood that the Christ was not a man to be followed, but a state of consciousness to be embodied. Her gospel is not a narrative of events, but a map of the soul's ascent from the darkness of ignorance into the light of self-realization. So, quiet your mind. Let the noise of the world recede. This is not a time for analysis or debate. It is a time for listening. Listening to the space between the words. Listening to the resonance they create within you. For the truth we are exploring is not an idea to be grasped, but an experience to be felt. This is an invitation to come home to yourself, to unlock the gate that was never locked, and to realize the staggering, liberating truth that you are not searching for the light. You are the light. Begin. Let your awareness settle on the rhythm of your own existence, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the silent, steady beat of your heart. And now, allow yourself to feel the other rhythm, the one imposed upon you by the world, the frantic, demanding pulse of modern life, the alarm clock that shatters the peace of dawn, the endless stream of information demanding your attention, the pressure to strive, to achieve, to become something more than what you are right now. There is a sense, for so many, of being on a great, invisible treadmill. You run, and the scenery of your days seems to change. A new job, a new relationship, a new possession, but the feeling remains the same. A quiet, gnawing sense of being trapped. A subtle exhaustion that sleep cannot cure. It is the exhaustion of the soul. You may call this prison by many names. You may call it your career, your financial obligations, your family duties, your personal history. You look at these external structures and believe they are the walls that confine you. If only I had a different job, you tell yourself, I would be free. If only my past had been different, I would be happy. If only I had more money, I would have peace. We spend our entire lives trying to rearrange the furniture in our cell, polishing the bars, petitioning the guards for better conditions, never once entertaining the most radical and liberating possibility of all, that the prison door has been open the entire time. The walls are not made of stone or circumstance. The bars are not forged from iron or obligation. The prison is made of thought. It is an architecture of perception, built from the unquestioned assumptions you hold about reality. Every time you think, I am not good enough, a bar clicks into place. Every time you believe, the world is a dangerous place, a wall grows higher. Every time you surrender to the fear of, what if I fail? The lock on the door grows stronger in your mind. We are born into a world that hands us these blueprints for our own confinement. Our parents, our teachers, our culture, all well-meaning, pass down the foundational beliefs that create this prison. They teach us what is possible and what is impossible. They teach us who we are and who we can never be. They give us a name, a history, a set of limitations, and we accept them as truth. We become the unwitting guardians of our own limitations, patrolling the corridors of our mind, ensuring that no thought of true, boundless freedom ever sees the light of day. Imagine your mind is a master painter, standing before the vast, unblemished canvas of reality. This canvas contains every possibility, every timeline, every conceivable experience. But in your painter's hand, you have been given only one pot of paint. For many, that color is fear, and so you begin to paint your world. You paint your relationships with the gray brush of potential abandonment. You paint your career with the dark strokes of possible failure and judgment. You paint your future with the murky, anxious color of uncertainty. You paint your own body with the critical eye of imperfection. Soon, the entire canvas is covered in these somber, heavy hues. You step back, look at your creation, and say, "This is the world." It is a place of anxiety, scarcity, and struggle. You believe this because it is all you can see. You have mistaken the limitation of your palette for the nature of reality itself. You believe the painting is the truth, without ever realizing you are the painter holding the brush. Awakening, the Gnosis we speak of, is not about throwing the canvas away. It is not about escaping the world of matter and form. It is the simple, earth-shattering realization that you have an infinite supply of other colors. The key to your freedom is not an object you must find or a destination you must reach. The key is a shift in your perception. It is the dawning awareness that you are not the thoughts that race through your mind. You are the silent, spacious awareness that witnesses those thoughts. Try this now. Bring to mind a worry, a persistent, familiar anxiety. Do not try to solve it. Do not try to push it away. Simply observe it. See it as a dark cloud moving through the vast blue sky of your consciousness. Notice its shape, its texture, its emotional charge. But know with unshakable certainty that you are not the cloud, you are the sky. The cloud of thought is temporary, fleeting. The sky of your awareness is permanent, boundless, and untouched by any storm that passes through it. In the moment you do this, you have used the key. You have created a space between you and the thought. You have stopped being the prisoner of your mind and have become its gentle, compassionate observer. In that sacred space you have just created, something miraculous happens. You, the painter, notice for the first time that right beside the pot of gray fear, there are other colors. There is the vibrant gold of courage, the soft blue of acceptance, the brilliant white of peace, the warm green of compassion. You realize you can choose. You can choose to dip your brush into a different color. You can look at the same situation, the same challenge, the same relationship, and consciously choose to paint it with acceptance instead of resistance, with curiosity instead of judgment, with love instead of fear. This is the beginning of true freedom. It is the understanding that the world does not happen to you, it happens through you. Your perception is the brush that colors reality. The circumstances of your life may not change overnight, but your experience of them is transformed instantly. The prison yard, seen with new eyes, becomes a garden of potential growth. The daily routine, once a monotonous march, becomes a moving meditation. The people who once triggered you become your greatest teachers, reflecting back to you the parts of yourself that are ready to be healed and painted with a new color. You are not breaking down the walls of your prison. You are realizing they are made of shadow, and you are the light that makes them disappear. You have found the key. You see that the prison was an illusion. But this realization brings forth a profound question. If this prison was built by thought, who was the original architect? Who is the warden that has patrolled its halls for so long, convincing you of its reality? To find the root of this grand illusion, we must now turn inward and face this master of disguise. We must meet the echo chamber of the ego. So you have recognized the prison. You have seen that its walls are not made of matter, but of mind stuff, of perception, and you have felt the key of awareness in your hand. But as you stand in this newfound space, you become aware of the warden. You hear the incessant voice of the architect of your confinement. This architect is the ego. It is the most intricate, most convincing, and most misunderstood mechanism of the human experience. The first and most crucial thing you must understand is this. The ego is not you. It is not your essence. It is a tool that has become the master, a servant that has crowned itself king. It is a collection of thoughts, memories, beliefs, and emotions, stitched together over a lifetime to create a persona, a character named me. This character has a story, a history of wounds and triumphs, a list of grievances and desires. Its primary function is survival, not of your body, but of its own story. It will do anything to protect and perpetuate the identity it has so carefully constructed. To understand the ego, you must understand how it operates. It is a ghost that thrives in the shadows of your unconsciousness. Its methods are subtle yet relentless. Its primary tool is comparison. The moment you awaken, the ego scans the world and asks, "Where do I stand?" It measures your worth against the perceived success, beauty, or intelligence of others. This constant measurement creates a world of hierarchy, of better than and less than. It fuels envy when it looks up, and it feeds on scorn when it looks down. It can never be at peace, for its very identity is defined by its position relative to others. It is a race with no finish line, a hunger that can never be satiated. Its second tool is judgment. The ego strengthens its own fragile sense of self by creating separation. It draws sharp lines between us and them, right and wrong, good and bad. It judges others for their beliefs, their choices, their appearance, because in each judgment it reinforces its own righteousness. It also judges you relentlessly. It is the inner critic that replays your every mistake, the voice that tells you that you are flawed, unworthy, or broken. This self-judgment is not an attempt at improvement. It is a way for the ego to keep you small and dependent on its guidance. The ego is utterly dependent on the external world for its validation. It has no inner light, so it must constantly seek reflections of itself in the eyes of others. It craves praise, attention, and recognition. It delights in being right in an argument. It swells with pride at a compliment and shrivels in the face of criticism. It is a beggar with a royal robe, constantly asking, "Do you see me? Do you approve of me? Am I important?" This external dependency is the source of immense suffering, for it places the key to your happiness in the pockets of everyone but you. And perhaps most importantly, the ego cannot survive in the present moment. The ego is a creature of time. It lives and breathes in the landscape of past and future. It drags you back into the past to chew on old grievances, to bask in faded glories, or to lament what could have been. It pulls you forward into the future to spin tales of anxiety and catastrophic what-ifs, or to create fantasies of a time when everything will finally be perfect. The ego avoids the pure, simple reality of the now at all costs, because in the stillness of the present moment, there are no stories to tell, no comparisons to make, no judgments to cast. In the vibrant aliveness of the now, the ego, which is just a bundle of old thoughts, has no oxygen. It begins to dissolve. Imagine the ego as a lonely king ruling over an empty kingdom. This king sits on a grand throne in a vast, echoing hall. The throne is built from all the things he identifies with: his job title, his possessions, his accomplishments, his wounds. He wears a heavy crown, each jewel representing a past hurt or a future anxiety. He is terrified. He is terrified of the silence of his own great hall. He is terrified of the emptiness of his kingdom. He is terrified that if he were to stop and listen, he would realize that his rule is an illusion, that he is the sole inhabitant of his own fabricated drama. And so, to drown out the deafening silence of truth, he shouts. He shouts commands into the void. "Remember that insult from 10 years ago," he bellows, and the hall echoes with the energy of resentment. "You must secure that promotion, or you are nothing," he proclaims, and the hall vibrates with the frequency of fear. "Worry about your health, your finances, your future," he screams, and the walls tremble with anxiety. His entire reign is an act of noise, a performance designed to distract himself from the profound, peaceful emptiness that is his true domain. He is not a powerful tyrant to be overthrown. He is a frightened child, making noise in the dark. What do you do with such a king? You do not stage a violent revolution. To fight the ego is to become like the ego. To attack it is to give it the battle it so desperately craves. For in conflict, it feels real. To argue with it is to become lost in the endless corridors of its logic. The path of Gnosis, of wisdom, is far more subtle and far more powerful. You do not fight the king. You simply withdraw your allegiance. You stop believing his proclamations. You learn to sit quietly in the great hall and listen to his shouts without being moved by them. When the voice of comparison arises, you notice it, you see it. You might even label it gently, that is comparison. But you do not climb onto the scales to be weighed. When the voice of judgment speaks, you observe it. There is the story of right and wrong, but you do not pick up a stone to throw. When the voice of fear for the future screams its warnings, you acknowledge it. I hear your concern. But you do not pack your bags for a journey into a land that does not exist. This is the practice of disidentification. It is the beginning of true inner royalty. You take your seat not on the ego's throne of noise, but on the silent cushion of awareness. You become the witness. The king may continue to shout for a time. The echoes of his old commands may still reverberate through the hall. But a king who shouts to a subject who will not listen is a king with no power. His voice, no longer fed by your belief and your fear, begins to lose its authority. The shouts become murmurs. The echoes begin to fade. The vast, noisy hall of the mind begins to grow quiet. And for the first time, you can feel the profound peace of the empty space. You can sense the solid foundation of the castle beneath your feet. And in that growing stillness, as the tyrant's voice fades, you begin to hear something else. A sound that was there all along, drowned out by the clamor. It is not a voice of command, but a feeling of presence. It is not a thought, but a knowing. It is the gentle, steady, and liberating whisper of the true self. As the echoes of the fearful king begin to fade, you are not left with a void. You are left with silence. At first, this silence might feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. The mind, so accustomed to constant noise, to the chatter of the ego, may become restless. It will try to fill the space with new thoughts, new worries, new distractions. This is its nature, but do not be alarmed. Simply remain as the witness. Allow the silence to deepen, for this is not an empty silence. It is not a lack of something. It is the presence of everything. It is the primal stillness from which all sound, all creation, all thought is born. It is the deep, resonant hum of existence itself. This silence is your true home. You have been away for a very long time, lost in the noisy marketplace of the world, and now you have returned to the peaceful sanctuary of your own being. This silent, spacious presence is the true self. It has been called by many names across the ages: the Christ consciousness, the Buddha nature, the Atman, the soul. The names are fingers pointing to the moon. They are not the moon itself. Do not get attached to the words. Attach yourself to the feeling, the direct experience of it. The true self is what remains when all labels are stripped away. When you are not your name, not your job, not your past, not your body, not your thoughts, what is left? There is an awareness, a silent, knowing presence, a field of pure potential. Unlike the ego, which is always doing, always wanting, always becoming, the true self simply is. It has no need to prove itself. It has no desire to be better than another. It is already whole, already complete, already at peace. It is the eternal, unchanging essence of who you are, and it has been patiently waiting for you beneath the turbulent surface of your personality for your entire life. To grasp this difference, let us return to the sky. Imagine your true self is the vast, boundless, luminous sky. It is eternally present, stretching from horizon to horizon and into infinity. Its nature is clarity, openness, and peace. It is the container for all that is. Now, imagine your thoughts, your emotions, the stories of your ego, your joys, your sorrows, your memories, and your ambitions. All of these are the clouds. Clouds are not the sky. They appear within the sky. They move through the sky, and they dissolve back into the sky. Some days the sky is filled with dark, heavy storm clouds of anger or grief. On other days, it is decorated with light, wispy clouds of fleeting happiness. Sometimes a thick, impenetrable fog of depression or confusion descends. and you forget the blue sky even exists. For your entire life, you have been taught to identify with the clouds. When a dark thought appeared, you said, "I am sad." When an angry feeling arose, you said, "I am angry." You believed you were the weather. You spent all your energy trying to control the clouds, to push away the dark ones and cling to the white ones. It is an exhausting and impossible battle. The spiritual awakening, the Gnosis, is the moment you shift your identification from the cloud to the sky. You realize that you are not the anger. You are the space in which anger is allowed to be. You are not the sadness. You are the silent, loving presence that holds the sadness until it passes. You are not the fleeting joy. You are the eternal peace that is untouched by either joy or sorrow. The sky is never damaged by a storm. The blue is never stained by the gray. It allows every cloud to drift by without resistance, without judgment. In realizing you are the sky, you find a freedom that is beyond comprehension for the mind that identifies as a cloud. Let us feel this now, not as a concept, but as a living reality. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if it helps you turn inward. Bring your attention to your breath, just for a moment, to anchor yourself in the present. Now, let your thoughts come as they may. Do not try to stop them. Simply watch them. See them as clouds, drifting across the inner sky of your mind, a thought about work, a memory from childhood, a worry about tomorrow. See them appear, see them linger, and see them dissolve. You are the watcher. You are the sky. Notice the space between the thoughts. There are gaps. In the beginning, they may be tiny, just a fraction of a second of pure, thought-free silence. But they are there. Let your attention rest in that gap. That gap is a crack in the veil. It is a direct glimpse of the sky behind the clouds. It is pure consciousness. It is your true self. Now, let go of watching the thoughts and bring your awareness deeper into your body. Feel the life energy that animates it, and then ask yourself, who am I? Let the answers of the mind come and go. I am a man. I am a woman. I am a parent. I am a professional. Let all of these labels float by like clouds. Go deeper. Beneath all the labels, what remains? There is a feeling, a subtle but undeniable sense of existence. A silent awareness that simply says, I am. Not, I am this, or I am that. Just the pure, unadorned, unqualified vibration of I am. This is it. This is the whisper of the true self. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is the most simple, fundamental, and powerful truth of your being. Rest in this feeling of I am. Breathe into it. Let it expand from the center of your chest and fill your entire body. Let it be the anchor of your awareness. This feeling is the beginning of Gnosis, of true direct knowing. It is not something you learned from an external source. It is a truth you have unearthed from within the core of your own existence. This is the solid ground upon which you can build a new life, a life lived not from the frantic and fearful energy of the ego cloud, but from the vast, peaceful, and powerful expanse of the sky of your true self. You have now touched the silent sky within. This is the first step. But to live from this place of profound peace, you must become intimately familiar with the atmospheric patterns, the programmed storms that the world will continue to send your way. To remain as the sky, you must learn to face the winds of conditioning. You must learn to tame the archons of the mind. You have touched the silent, luminous sky of your true self. You have felt the peace that resides in the space between your thoughts. This is the goal of all spiritual seeking, the home you have longed for. Yet, as you begin to familiarize yourself with this inner peace, you will inevitably notice the clouds returning. Not just random passing thoughts, but recurring patterns of darkness, systemic storms of fear and doubt that seem to rise from nowhere, intent on obscuring the sun. These are not ordinary thoughts. They are something more ancient, more powerful, more deeply embedded in the fabric of your consciousness. In the ancient Gnostic tradition, these were called the archons. The word archon means ruler or lord. The Gnostics saw them as powerful, otherworldly beings who had created the material world as a flawed imitation of the divine realm. a labyrinth designed to trap the human spirit in ignorance and fear. They were seen as the cosmic gatekeepers, the lords of fate who governed the planets and kept souls from ascending back to the light. But the most profound Gnostic teaching, the secret whispered from teacher to student, is that these archons are not primarily external demons. Their truest and most powerful form is within you. They are the master programs of the unconscious mind, the foundational patterns of thought and belief that rule your life from the shadows. They are the architects of the matrix of consensus reality, the invisible programmers who write the code of suffering and limitation that most of humanity accepts as normal. Their power does not come from strength, but from invisibility. An archon is a thought pattern that you do not recognize as a thought pattern. You believe it is you. You believe it is reality. It is the unquestioned assumption, the background hum of anxiety, the voice of common sense, that is actually the voice of collective fear. These programs were not of your making. They are energetic viruses passed down through generations, through cultures, through family lines. They were installed in your mind at a time when you were too young and open to defend yourself. When you were told as a child that money doesn't grow on trees, the archon of scarcity began to install its code. When you were shamed for a mistake, the archon of guilt created a shortcut on your desktop. When you saw your parents constantly worrying about the future, the archon of anxiety embedded its operating system deep within your psyche. You are not to blame for their presence, but you are responsible for their removal. Let us give names to these shadowy rulers of the modern mind so that you may begin to recognize them. First, there is the great archon of scarcity. Its voice is a constant, nagging whisper. There is not enough time, not enough money, not enough love, not enough opportunity. It makes you see the world as a zero-sum game, a battle for limited resources. It forces you into competition, jealousy, and fear of loss. It makes you hoard your possessions, your time, your affection. Under its rule, you can never relax, for you are always on the verge of running out. Even a billionaire under the spell of this archon feels poor, constantly terrified of losing what they have. It is a program that generates a perpetual state of inner poverty, regardless of your external wealth. Then there is its twin, the archon of unworthiness. This is perhaps the most insidious of all. Its core programming is simple. You are fundamentally flawed. You are not good enough as you are. You must prove your right to exist. It is the engine behind relentless ambition, perfectionism, and people-pleasing. It is the voice that compares you to others and always finds you lacking. It makes you believe that love and acceptance are conditional, things that must be earned through achievement or sacrifice. Under its dominion, you can never rest in your own being. You are always striving, climbing, performing, desperately seeking the external validation that will finally silence the inner voice that says, "You are a fraud." But the validation never comes, because the program is not designed to be satisfied. Its function is the striving itself. Consider also the subtle tyrant, the archon of tomorrow. Its promise is always, you will be happy when you get the degree, when you get married, when you have children, when the children leave home, when you retire. It constantly dangles the carrot of future happiness just ahead of you, ensuring you never fully inhabit the only place where true happiness can be found, the present moment. This archon is the master thief of life. It steals your days, your weeks, your years, exchanging the vibrant, living reality of the now for a pale, mental projection of a future that never arrives. Under its spell, life becomes a dress rehearsal, a series of stepping stones to a destination you never reach. To tame these rulers, you must first see them. You must become the conscious user of your own mind. Imagine your pure consciousness is a flawless computer, running a perfect, silent operating system. When you were born, these archon programmers began installing their malicious software. The archon of scarcity, .exe, the unworthiness, DL, the tomorrow, VBS. For years, you've thought the constant error messages, the slow performance, and the system crashes were just how your computer was built. You thought the anxiety was you. You thought the insecurity was you. You thought the constant deferral of joy was you. The act of taming the archons is the act of running a diagnostic on your own system. It is the process of bringing the light of your conscious awareness to these hidden programs. The method is not to fight them. Fighting a program only engages it and strengthens it. You cannot argue with the archon of scarcity and win because its logic is a closed loop. The method is to see it, name it, and disidentify from it. When the familiar anxiety of not having enough tightens in your chest, you do not follow it down the rabbit hole of fear. You pause, you breathe, and you say internally, I see you. I recognize this program. This is the archon of scarcity. When the inner critic begins its tirade of self-judgment, you do not defend yourself or accept its verdict. You observe it with detachment and say, I see you, archon of unworthiness. You are a voice, but you are not my voice. You are a program, but you are not me. In that moment of conscious recognition, you perform a sacred act of alchemy. You unplug the archon from its power source. Its power source is your unconscious belief in it. A program that is seen by the user is no longer in control. A ruler who is recognized by his subjects as an imposter loses all authority. The archon does not die a dramatic death. It begins to wither from lack of attention. Its voice becomes fainter. Its influence on your emotional state becomes weaker. You are not destroying a part of yourself. You are deleting a foreign file that never belonged there in the first place. This is the great work. It is the process of reclaiming your mental and spiritual sovereignty, one conscious moment at a time. Each time you expose an archon to the light of your presence, you uninstall a piece of the code of suffering. You restore your mind, bit by bit, to its original state, clear, peaceful, and unconditionally free. And as these programs are deactivated, a tremendous amount of energy that was tied up in them is released. This liberated energy must now be understood and harnessed. This leads us to the great art of inner transformation, the alchemy of emotion. As you begin the sacred work of identifying and unplugging the archons of the mind, a vast amount of psychic energy is liberated. For years, sometimes for decades, this energy has been consumed by the background programs of scarcity, unworthiness, and fear. It has been fuel for the engine of anxiety. Now, that fuel is returned to you. At first, this influx can feel overwhelming. Old emotions, long suppressed by these mental structures, may rise to the surface with a surprising and raw intensity. Waves of anger, grief, or fear that you thought were long gone may wash over you. Do not be alarmed. Do not think you have regressed. This is not a sign of failure. It is a profound sign of success. You are finally meeting the raw, untamed energy of your own being. This is the lead, the prima materia of the ancient alchemists. It is the raw material from which gold can be made. Our entire society has taught us to fear this raw material. We have been conditioned to categorize our inner world into good and bad emotions. Joy, peace, and love are good, and we are encouraged to pursue them. Anger, sadness, and fear are bad, and we are taught to avoid, suppress, or medicate them. This fundamental misunderstanding is the source of immense psychological suffering. The truth is that emotions are not good or bad. They are simply energy. The very word emotion means energy in motion. It is a vibration, a frequency moving through the vessel of your body, delivering a message. Anger is energy. Fear is energy. Grief is energy. The problem is never the energy itself. The problem, the source of all suffering, is our resistance to it. When the energy of anger arises and you judge it as wrong, you create a secondary layer of conflict. You are now fighting yourself. You are building a dam to stop a powerful river. The pressure of that river builds and builds until it either bursts forth in an uncontrolled rage or turns inward, stagnating into the toxic sludge of resentment and bitterness. When the energy of sadness comes to visit, and you fear it will consume you, you freeze the river. You create a cold, numb armor around your heart, which not only blocks the sadness but also prevents you from feeling true joy and connection. You become a ghost in your own life. The pain is not in the feeling. The pain is in the pushing, the pulling, the judging, the resisting. The alchemy of emotion is the art of learning to let the river flow. The alchemists of old sought the philosopher's stone, a mythical substance that could turn base metals, like lead, into pure gold. The wisest of them knew this was not a physical quest, but a spiritual metaphor. The lead is the dense, heavy, unconscious state of the human psyche, ruled by the archons of fear and ignorance. The gold is the radiant, incorruptible light of the awakened, true self. The philosopher's stone, the legendary catalyst for this transformation, was the greatest secret of all. And the secret is this: your own conscious, loving, non-judgmental attention is the philosopher's stone. Your awareness, when applied with deliberate intention, is the most powerful transmuting agent in the universe. It is the fire that can purify any substance. To practice the alchemy of emotion is to consciously apply the philosopher's stone of your awareness to the base metal of a difficult feeling and witness its transformation into spiritual gold. This is not a mere concept. It is a practical skill, a discipline you can cultivate. The next time a wave of difficult emotion arises, let that be the signal to begin your great work. Let us say it is the fire of anger. The old way would be to either lash out, venting the energy destructively, or to swallow it down, letting it poison you from within. The alchemical way is different. First, you must isolate the raw material. This means separating the pure energy of the emotion from the story the mind is telling about it. The story is, I am furious because of what they did. They were wrong. I am justified. The story is a loop, a product of the ego. Let it go, just for a moment. Drop the narrative and turn your attention inward. Second, locate the energy in your body. Ask yourself, where do I feel this anger physically? It is never an abstract concept. It is a tangible sensation. Perhaps it's a burning heat in your chest, a tense tightness in your jaw and fists, a surge of energy rising up your spine. Be a curious scientist. Explore its texture, its temperature, its vibration without any judgment. Third, apply the philosopher's stone. This is the most crucial step. You hold that raw physical sensation in the crucible of your awareness. You breathe into it. You surround it with a feeling of unconditional acceptance. This is radical. You are not condoning the external event that triggered the anger. You are simply allowing the resulting energy to exist within you without resistance. You are saying to the feeling, you are welcome here. I am not afraid of you. I will not run from you. You hold it in your loving attention, just as you would hold a crying child. You are not trying to fix it or make it go away. You are simply providing a safe space for it to be seen and felt. Fourth, witness the transmutation. As you hold the energy in this accepting embrace, a miracle occurs. The energy, now that it is allowed to move freely, begins to change. It may intensify at first, reaching a crescendo. Stay with it. Breathe. This is the alchemical fire at its hottest. Then, just as a wave reaches its peak, it will begin to recede. The dense, chaotic energy of raw anger, having been met with conscious presence, is purified. It is transmuted into its higher expression. The lead of rage becomes the gold of clear, focused passion. It becomes the courage to speak your truth calmly. It becomes the strength to set firm boundaries. It becomes a fuel for creative action. This is true for all emotions. The lead of paralyzing fear, when held in the crucible of your awareness, is transmuted into the gold of heightened presence, alertness, and wisdom. The heavy lead of grief, when allowed to flow without resistance, is transmuted into the luminous gold of compassion, empathy, and a profound connection to the fragile beauty of all life. You are no longer a victim of your emotions. You have become a master alchemist. You welcome every feeling, knowing it is simply raw energy, raw potential, bringing you a gift. You are no longer afraid of your own inner world. By learning to master the energy of your emotions in the present moment, you are developing the foundational skill needed to dismantle an even greater illusion, a construct built entirely out of emotional energy projected away from the now. You are preparing to see through the grandest archon of them all, the phantom of linear time. You have begun the great alchemical work. You are learning to hold the raw energy of your emotions in the crucible of your awareness, transmuting the lead of fear and anger into the gold of presence and passion. As you become more skilled in this art, you will make a staggering discovery. Almost every single difficult emotion that torments the human soul is rooted in the illusion of time. Consider this. Can guilt exist without a past to regret? Can resentment survive without a memory of grievance to feed it? Number. Can anxiety exist without a future to worry about? Can dread take hold without a projection of what might go wrong? Number. These states of suffering are phantoms, born from the marriage of a memory and an imagination. They are ghosts that haunt the houses of yesterday and tomorrow, but they have no power, no reality in the living sanctuary of the now. To become a true alchemist of your own consciousness, you must go to the root. You must shatter the greatest illusion of them all. You must see through the mirage of time. From the moment you could think, you were taught that time is a river, flowing ceaselessly from a fixed past through a fleeting present and into an unknown future. You see yourself as a small boat, swept along by its current, a helpless passenger on a journey you did not choose. This is the foundational hypnosis of the consensus reality, the primary archon that governs all others. But I ask you to question this now, with a radical honesty. Where is the past? Can you go there? Can you find it anywhere outside of the electrical impulses and memory traces currently active within your own mind? You cannot. The past does not exist. It is a story, a thought form happening now. And where is the future? Can you visit it? It is a mental projection, a fantasy, a guess. It is also a thought form, a dream happening now. You have never, not for a single fraction of a second, lived anywhere but inside this present moment. Your entire life, from your first breath to your last, is nothing but a seamless series of nows. The illusion is the belief that these nows are beads on a string, creating a timeline. The liberating truth is that there is only one bead, eternally present, constantly changing its appearance. To understand this illusion, imagine that your mind is a master storyteller. It is an ancient, relentless narrator, and its epic saga is called The Story of Me. This storyteller holds a vast book, and it spends all its time reading from it, aloud, directly into your awareness. Half of the book is about the past. The storyteller opens to a chapter of failure or embarrassment, and as it reads, you feel the energy of shame. Now, it turns to a page where you were wronged or betrayed, and as it narrates the details, you feel the poison of resentment. Now, it might read from a chapter of lost love or faded glory, and you feel the ache of nostalgia. Now, the events are gone, they are dust, but the storyteller resurrects their ghosts and makes you believe they are still alive, haunting the corridors of your present moment. The other half of the book is about the future, and the storyteller loves to speculate. It writes horror stories called What If, filling the blank pages with vivid descriptions of potential disaster, financial ruin, sickness, and abandonment. As you listen, captivated, you feel the chilling energy of anxiety. Now, then, it will write beautiful fantasies, chapters about a perfect future where all your problems are solved, where you are finally happy, loved, and secure. As you listen to this, you feel a bittersweet longing, a deep dissatisfaction with the present moment, which can never compete with the perfection of a fantasy. The storyteller is so skilled, so utterly convincing, that you have forgotten that you are the listener. You believe you are the character in its story. You are trapped within the pages of its book. Spiritual awakening is not about writing a better story. It is not about forcing the storyteller to only read from the happy chapters. It is about gently closing the book. It is the radical act of withdrawing your attention from the narration and placing it on the reality of the room in which you are sitting. Let us do this together. For a moment, ask the storyteller in your mind to be quiet. Let its tales of past and future fade into the background, and bring your awareness with a laser-like focus into the raw data of the present moment. Feel the sensation of air entering your body. Notice the temperature on your skin. Feel the subtle pressure of the ground or the chair supporting you. Listen to the sounds around you, not as labels, but as pure vibration. The hum of a machine, the distant sound of traffic, the sound of your own breathing. Now, In this precise moment, stripped of the story of your past and the fantasy of your future, are you okay? Are you in immediate danger? Is there a catastrophic problem that needs solving in this very second? The answer, for almost everyone, almost all of the time, is no. In the reality of the now, there is peace. There is a simple, profound aliveness. The now is not a moment in time. It is the timeless dimension of being itself. It is the screen upon which the movie of your life, with all its drama, is projected. You have been so lost in the movie that you forgot you are the screen. To realize your true nature as the screen is to become free from the movie. You can still watch it, you can appreciate the story, but it no longer has the power to cause you to suffer. This is the seat of all your power. You cannot act in the past, you cannot act in the future. You can only act now. The past cannot be changed, but its grip on you can be dissolved now, by bringing the light of your presence to the emotional charge it carries. The future is not a destination to be reached, but a consequence of the quality of your consciousness now. If you plant seeds of anxiety and fear in the fertile ground of the now, the future will grow a harvest of undesirable circumstances. If you plant seeds of peace, presence, and love in the now, the future will naturally unfold in a way that reflects that state of being. You stop trying to control the world, and instead, you focus on the only thing you ever truly have control over, your state of consciousness in this moment. By shattering the illusion of time, you are released from the heaviest psychological burdens. Guilt and resentment dissolve. Anxiety and worry lose their fuel. The frantic striving for a future salvation ceases. You are no longer waiting for life to begin. You realize that this right here is it. This moment is the destination. This aliveness is the treasure. When you reside in this state of timeless presence, your perception becomes clear. You are no longer looking at the world through the distorted lens of past conditioning or future fear. You are seeing things as they are. And from this clear vantage point, you begin to perceive a profound and magical law of the universe. You begin to see that the world outside of you is not separate from you at all. You realize, with a shock of recognition, that the universe is your mirror. When you learn to still the mind, when you step out of the roaring river of psychological time and stand on the quiet bank of the present moment, your perception clarifies. The world, which once seemed a chaotic and random series of events, begins to reveal a hidden order, a profound and elegant symmetry. From this vantage point of presence, you begin to perceive one of the most fundamental and transformative laws of existence. The law is this: the universe is a mirror. The reality you experience on the outside is a perfect, flawless reflection of the reality you inhabit on the inside. What you see is what you are. The world is not something that is happening to you. It is something that is happening as you. Imagine standing before a vast cosmic mirror. This mirror is not made of glass and silver. It is woven from the fabric of consciousness itself. It is utterly neutral, completely impartial. It has no agenda, no preferences, no judgments. It does not reward or punish. Its sole function is to reflect, with perfect fidelity, the image that is placed before it. If you approach the mirror with a scowl on your face, it will scowl back at you. If you approach it with a heart full of anger, you will see a world populated by angry figures. If you approach it with a deep-seated belief that you are a victim, the mirror will conjure up an endless supply of oppressors to validate your belief. If you approach it with a smile of genuine, unconditional love, the entire universe will have no choice but to smile back. For years, you have been trying to change the world by polishing the mirror, arguing with the reflection, or running away from it, hoping to find a mirror that shows a more pleasing image. The Great Awakening is the realization that the only way to change the reflection is to change yourself. How does this mirror function? The mechanism is the law of vibrational resonance. Everything in the universe, from the most solid rock to the most ethereal thought, is energy vibrating at a specific frequency. Your state of being, which is the cumulative vibration of your dominant beliefs, your emotional set point, and the stories you tell yourself, is constantly broadcasting a signal, a frequency, out into the quantum field. Like a cosmic tuning fork, your signal resonates with, and attracts back to you energies of a corresponding frequency. This is the deeper truth behind what many call the law of attraction. It is not a tool for getting what you want. It is a law that reveals who you are. It is not about repeating positive affirmations while feeling a state of lack. The universe does not hear your words. It feels your vibration. If your dominant frequency is one of scarcity and fear, you will magnetize experiences of lack and reasons to be afraid. If your dominant frequency is one of wholeness and inner peace, you will find yourself in circumstances that reflect and amplify that peace. To use this knowledge, you must learn to read your own reflections. Your life, right now, is a diagnostic printout of your inner state. The recurring patterns and themes are not curses or bad luck. They are sacred messages from the mirror, showing you exactly what programs are running within you. If you consistently find yourself in relationships with people who betray you or let you down, the mirror is not telling you that the world is untrustworthy. It is asking you a deeper question: where are you betraying yourself? Where are you abandoning your own intuition, your own needs, your own truths? The outer betrayal is a reflection of an inner self-betrayal. If you consistently experience a lack of love or appreciation from others, the mirror is not telling you that you are unlovable. It is showing you, with perfect clarity, the parts of yourself that you have not yet learned to love and appreciate. The empty space outside is a reflection of the empty space inside. If your life feels chaotic, stressful, and overwhelming, the mirror is simply reflecting the state of your own mind. The outer chaos is a direct manifestation of your inner turmoil. This understanding shifts you from the powerless position of a victim to the empowered position of a student, a mystic, a conscious creator. Every person who irritates you becomes your teacher, showing you an unhealed part of yourself. Every challenge you face becomes a divine assignment, pointing you toward a limiting belief that is ready to be released. You no longer blame the world. You no longer curse the reflection. Instead, you turn to it with gratitude and ask, what are you here to show me about myself? The frustrating boss, the difficult family member, the unexpected bill, these are not obstacles to your peace. They are the curriculum of your awakening, sent by the mirror to help you see what you could not see on your own. You begin to understand that the world is not working against you, it is working for you, conspiring to lead you back to your own wholeness. With this knowledge, the path becomes simple, though not always easy. The work is no longer out there. It is not about changing others, fixing the government, or rearranging the world to your liking. That is trying to command the mirror to change. The work is entirely in here. It is about changing the source of the reflection. Do you desire more peace in your life? Then you must stop demanding it from the world and begin to cultivate it relentlessly within your own heart. Sit in silence. Practice the alchemy of your emotions. Still your mind. As you become an oasis of peace, the mirror must, by law, reflect a more peaceful reality back to you. Do you desire more love? Stop seeking it. Start being it. Become a fountain of unconditional love and acceptance for yourself and for those already in your life. The reflection of a world starved for love will dissolve, replaced by one that is overflowing with it. Do you desire abundance? Cease focusing on the outer lack and turn your full attention to the infinite abundance already present within you, the abundance of breaths, of heartbeats, of the gift of consciousness itself. Embody the feeling of abundance, and the mirror will bring you circumstances to match that feeling. You stand now at the threshold of true creative power. You understand that your inner state is the blueprint for your outer world. The universe is a mirror, a blank canvas, awaiting the imprint of your consciousness. So the ultimate question of creation, the ultimate secret of manifesting a life of grace and beauty, comes down to one single, critical point of focus. It comes down to where you choose to place the most sacred and powerful currency you possess, the power of your attention. You now stand in the light of a profound realization. The universe is your mirror, flawlessly reflecting your inner state. This understanding is the key that unlocks the door to conscious creation. If your inner world shapes your outer world, then the single most important faculty you possess, the very tool of creation itself, is that which directs and shapes your inner world. This faculty is your attention. Your attention, is the most sacred, most potent currency in the universe. It is not merely mental focus, it is the directed flow of your life force, the beam of consciousness that illuminates, nourishes, and animates whatever it rests upon. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, life grows. This is the immutable law. To grasp this power, imagine your consciousness is a vast and fertile garden. Within this garden lie the seeds of every possible experience and reality. There are seeds of joy and seeds of despair, seeds of love and seeds of resentment, seeds of abundance and seeds of lack, seeds of peace and seeds of conflict. Every potentiality exists within you as a dormant seed. Your attention is the sun. Whatever seed you choose to shine the sunlight of your attention upon is the one that will germinate. It will send roots deep into your subconscious mind, sprout into your emotional body, and eventually bear fruit in the physical circumstances of your life. Now, look honestly at how you have been tending your garden. Most of humanity, living in an unconscious state, spends the day shining the brilliant, life-giving sun of their attention on the weeds. A thought of a past grievance appears, and they focus the sun on it, watering it with emotional energy until it grows into a thorny bush of bitterness. A thought of future worry arises, and they shine the sun on it, nurturing it until it becomes a choking vine of anxiety that suffocates all joy. They focus on what is wrong with their lives, what they do not have, who has slighted them. They diligently cultivate a garden of weeds, and then stand in bewilderment, wondering why they are not surrounded by flowers. The spiritual path is the path of the conscious gardener. It is the decision to stop feeding the weeds. It is the disciplined, deliberate act of withdrawing the sunlight of your attention from thoughts of lack, fear, and division, and consciously placing it, with gentle persistence, upon the seeds you truly wish to grow. This work is more vital now than ever before, because you live in a world that is actively trying to hijack your sacred currency. There is an entire economy built upon the capture and monetization of your attention. Social media, the 24-hour news cycle, advertising, and politics all understand that your attention is the source of all power. They have become masters at stealing it. They know that the easiest way to capture your attention is to activate the archons within you, to trigger your fear, to provoke your outrage, to stimulate your greed, and to amplify your sense of victimhood. They create an endless scroll of manufactured emergencies and synthetic desires, all designed to keep your sunlight focused on their weeds, not your flowers. To reclaim your attention from these external forces is the first great act of declaring your spiritual sovereignty. It is to say, my life force is not for sale. My consciousness is not a commodity. I am the sole director of my sun. To do this, you must first become aware of where your attention is currently invested. I invite you to conduct a sacred audit of your own mind. For one full day, become a detective of your attention. Notice, without judgment, where it goes. How many minutes or hours are spent replaying old conversations in your head? How much energy is spent worrying about scenarios that will likely never happen? How often does your attention settle on judgment, either of yourself or of others? How much of your precious life force is spent complaining, mentally or verbally? Be ruthlessly honest. The results of this audit are often shocking. Many discover that 90% or more of their sacred, creative energy is being squandered on nourishing the very states they claim they do not want. Once you have this awareness, you can begin the practice of conscious redirection. This is not about fighting your thoughts. To fight a weed is still to give it your attention. This is a more graceful art. When you notice the sunlight of your attention moving toward a familiar weeder thought of worry, a feeling of resentment, you first acknowledge it without judgment. Ah, I see the weed of worry. Then, with the gentle but firm resolve of a master gardener, you consciously and deliberately move the beam of your attention elsewhere. You move it to the physical sensation of your breath. You move it to a feeling of gratitude for something simple in your life, the warmth of the sun, the taste of water, the fact that you are alive. You move it to the inner feeling of the reality you wish to create. If you desire peace, you move your attention to the seed of peace that already exists within you, even if it is small. You shine your attention on that feeling. You nurture it. you let it grow. This is the development of a new spiritual muscle. At first, it will feel difficult. The gravitational pull of old mental habits is strong. The mind will want to wander back to its familiar weeds. Your task is to simply, gently, and repeatedly bring it back. 1,000 times a day, if necessary. Each time you consciously redirect your attention, you are weakening an old neural pathway and strengthening a new one. You are literally rewiring your brain and reconditioning your energy field. You are taking your power back from the automatic, unconscious programs of the archons and placing it in the hands of your conscious, true self. As you practice this, you will notice a profound shift. By consistently withdrawing your attention from what you do not want, it begins to wither and dissolve from your reality. By consistently placing your attention on the inner states, you do wish to experience peace, wholeness, love, abundance. Those states begin to expand and stabilize. They move from being fleeting moments to your predominant emotional home, your core vibrational signature. And because the universe is a mirror, it has no choice but to begin reflecting this new signature back to you. You are no longer just an observer of the reflection. You are now actively holding the very object, the very state of being that you wish the mirror to reflect. You are moving from passive observation into active participation. You are stepping into the profound truth of your own nature. You are the silent creator. You have reclaimed the sacred power of your attention. You have learned to be the conscious gardener of your mind, choosing which seeds to water with your life force. Now, you must learn the ultimate art. How to use this focused attention not just to cultivate inner states, but to impress those states upon the mirror of the universe, and thus call forth a new reality. You are about to step fully into the understanding that you are not merely a passenger in this world, nor even just a gardener of your inner world. You are its silent, constant, and inescapable creator. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are creating your reality in every moment. Your life in its entirety, your health, your relationships, your finances, your challenges, and your triumphs, the physical manifestation of your deepest and most dominant assumptions. An assumption is a belief that you hold so deeply, so consistently, that you no longer recognize it as a belief. It is simply the way things are. If you assume the world is a struggle, you will create a life of struggle. If you assume you are unlucky in love, you will perpetually create evidence to support that assumption. The universe does not argue with you. It simply conforms to the blueprint you provide. The great work of spiritual mastery is to move from this state of unconscious, habitual creation to one of conscious, deliberate creation. It is to choose your assumptions with the same care that a master architect chooses the plans for a great cathedral. To do this, you must first let go of the materialist superstition that reality is a fixed, solid, objective thing that exists independently of you. The ancient Gnostic and mystical traditions have always taught a more profound truth, that consciousness is the one and only reality, and the physical world is its shadow, its reflection, its dream. The world is solidified consciousness, your consciousness. The world is, as one great mystic taught, yourself pushed out. Everything you see and experience is a symbol, an outpicturing of a state you have passed through or are currently occupying. The people in your life are playing roles you have silently assigned them. The conditions of your life are the hardened facts of what were once fluid imaginations. So how do we work with this profound truth? We must enter the creative center within us, the place where all worlds are made. This place is your own wonderful human imagination. Your imagination is not a frivolous faculty for idle daydreaming or escaping reality. It is the very workshop of God. It is the womb of creation. It is the sacred studio where you sculpt the energetic mold that the universe will then fill with the clay of physical experience. Every time you immerse yourself in a feeling state, you are sculpting in this workshop. When you spend your day feeling anxious and worried, you are meticulously sculpting a detailed mold of lack and fear. The universe, as the faithful servant, then has no choice but to pour circumstance and event into that mold, giving you a perfect physical replica of your inner creation. To become a conscious creator is to stop sculpting molds by accident, and to start sculpting your masterpiece by design. This is the sacred art of assumption, or as it is often called, living in the end. It is the most potent form of prayer, for it is not prayer that pleads, but prayer that knows. It is a technique of profound power. Let us walk through the steps of the conscious creator. First, you must define your aim clearly. What is it you wish to experience? Not a list of things, but a state of being. Do not say, "I want $1 million." Ask yourself, what is the state that $1 million would give me? Is it freedom? Is it security? Is it relief? The state is the true desire. Let us say the state is one of profound security. Second, you construct a short, simple, sensory scene which implies that this state is already your reality. The scene must take place after the fulfillment of your desire. It could be you, sitting in your chair, feeling a deep, quiet sigh of relief ripple through your body as you think to yourself, "I never have to worry about money again." Or it could be a loved one embracing you and saying, "I am so happy for you, everything has worked out perfectly." The scene must be short, vivid, and filled with the feeling of fulfillment. Third, and this is the secret, you enter the workshop. You relax your physical body into a state of stillness, akin to sleep, but with your awareness fully alert. You then bring your imaginal scene to life. You loop it over and over. But you are not just watching a mental movie. You must enter it. You must become the actor on the stage. What would you actually feel if your friend was congratulating you? Feel the warmth of their hand on your shoulder. Hear the sincerity in their voice. Most importantly, feel the swell of gratitude and relief in your own heart. You must generate the feeling of the wish fulfilled and let that feeling permeate your entire being. That feeling, that inner conviction of a new reality, is the finished mold. It is the prayer that has been heard. Fourth, you assume it is done. Once you have successfully captured the feeling, the mood of the wish fulfilled, you let go of the scene. You do not need to repeat it endlessly. You have made the mold. Now you must allow it to harden. This is a state of faith, or what the mystics called the Sabbatha state of rest. You go about your day, no longer striving or hoping or wishing, but moving from a quiet, inner knowing that it is done. You are living from the end. You are walking through the world with the inner feeling of your fulfilled desire as your constant companion. When you live from this assumption, you do not look to the outer world, to the mirror, for confirmation. To constantly check the mirror is to introduce doubt, which cracks the mold before it has a chance to set. You must walk by faith in your unseen reality, not by the sight of your current circumstances. You must remain loyal to your inner vision. Do not concern yourself with the how or the when. The means by which your assumption will harden into fact are not your concern. The universe is a master craftsperson with ways and means you could not possibly conceive of. Your only responsibility is to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. If you do this, you must, by the law of your own being, see it reflected in the mirror of your world. This creative power, this ability to impress your will upon the universe and shape reality, is a profound and active force. It is the divine masculine principle within you, the power to project, to build, to form. But for this power to be wielded with wisdom and grace, for it to create beauty and not just egoic desires, it must be balanced by its divine partner. The active, projective power of the Creator must be married to the receptive, intuitive, and flowing wisdom of the soul. This sacred marriage is the union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine within. You have now touched upon the great secret of creation, the power of a focused mind and a feeling state to impress itself upon the mirror of reality. This is the power to sculpt the unseen, to give form to the formless, to project an inner vision into outer experience. This is the divine, active, fiery principle within you. In many traditions, this is known as the energy of the divine masculine. It is the power of the word, the will, and the way. It is the architect that draws the blueprint and the builder that lays the stone. But for this immense power to be wielded with wisdom, for it to create a life of profound fulfillment rather than one of hollow victories, it cannot act alone. A builder without inspiration builds a prison. A will without guidance becomes a tyrant. This active, projective fire must be balanced, guided, and informed by its divine and equal counterpart, the receptive, knowing, flowing waters of the divine feminine. Within every human soul, regardless of physical gender, these two primordial energies exist. They are the yin and the yang, the sun and the moon, the stillness and the dance. To know them is to know the fundamental polarities of existence. The divine masculine is the energy of doing. It is structure, logic, and focus. It is the power that sets goals, creates plans, and takes decisive action. It is the straight line, the sharpened spear, the unshakable mountain. It provides the container, the framework, the vessel. It is the force that moves from chaos to order. Its gift is clarity. The divine feminine, on the other hand, is the energy of being. It is flow, intuition, and receptivity. It is the power that surrenders, that listens, that feels. It is not linear. It is cyclical, like the seasons and the tides. It is the curved line, the fertile void, the deep ocean. It is the life force that fills the container. It is the source of all creativity, compassion, and connection. Its gift is wisdom. For millennia, our world, and consequently our inner lives, have been deeply out of balance, worshipping the masculine while suppressing and devaluing the feminine. This has created a world of rigid structures without soul, of relentless action without meaning. Look at the tyranny of an imbalanced masculine within a person. It is the workaholic who sacrifices their health and relationships for success, only to find their achievements feel empty. It is the perfectionist, terrified of surrender, who must control every outcome and lives in a constant state of tension. It is the hyper-rational intellectual who is disconnected from their heart, unable to feel deep emotion or connection. This is a life of empty striving, a desert of logic where no flowers of joy can grow. Conversely, a life dominated by an imbalanced feminine is also one of suffering. This is the dreamer who is filled with magnificent visions and creative potential, but can never bring them into form. They are so lost in the flow that they lack the structure to channel their gifts. They may be overwhelmed by their own emotions, carried away by every passing mood, unable to set boundaries or move toward a clear goal. They live in a beautiful, watery chaos, but their dreams remain forever as phantoms, never manifesting on the shores of physical reality. This is a life of unfulfilled potential, a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly on the beautiful but directionless ocean. To live a whole and awakened life is to become the master of a sacred vessel. Imagine your life is a great ship. The divine feminine is the magnificent sail. Its purpose is to be open, receptive, and sensitive, to catch the invisible winds of intuition, inspiration, and divine guidance. Without the sail, the ship is dead in the water, a rigid structure going nowhere. The divine masculine is the strong, steady rudder. Its purpose is to take the raw power captured by the sail and give it direction, to steer the ship with focused intent toward a chosen horizon. Without the rudder, the ship is at the mercy of every changing wind, blown here and there without purpose, eventually crashing upon the rocks. A sailor who worships only the rudder will sit in a stagnant port, proud of his control but never experiencing the journey. A sailor who worships only the sail will be lost at sea, mistaking aimless drifting for freedom. The master sailor, the awakened soul, honors both equally. They know that true power lies in their dynamic interplay. This inner union is the great hieros gamos, the sacred marriage. It is the alchemical wedding of the sun and the moon within your own heart. In the Gnostic Gospels, this perfect balance is often symbolized by the relationship between the figures of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Jesus represents the Logos, the divine mind, the embodiment of will and action in the world, the rudder. Mary Magdalene represents Sophia, divine wisdom, the one who feels and knows and receives the deepest truths, the sail. She is the one who anoints him, who gives his action its sacred purpose. He is the one who takes her inner knowing and manifests it as a teaching that can change the world. They are not two separate historical people. They are two inseparable poles of a single, complete consciousness. This is the consciousness you are here to embody. The practice of this sacred marriage becomes the rhythm of your creative life. The process begins with the feminine, You must create space for silence and receptivity. You sit in meditation, you walk in nature, you listen to your body. You do not ask for answers. You simply become open. You are the sail, waiting for the wind. And in that stillness, an impulse will arise. A quiet knowing, a creative idea, a gut feeling. This is the whisper of the divine feminine. At this point, the divine masculine awakens. It receives this intuitive gift from the feminine with reverence. It does not question the validity of the whisper. It asks, how can I honor this? What is the first practical step I can take to bring this formless wisdom into the world of form? It then creates a plan. It sets aside time. It takes that first, decisive action. The feminine provides the what. The masculine provides the how. The feminine has the dream. The masculine builds the house for the dream to live in. You listen with your feminine ear, and you act with your masculine hand. Cultivating this balance is your life's great work. If you feel stuck and stagnant, you must cultivate your feminine. Go dance, listen to music, sit by the water. Do something creative with no goal in mind. Feel your feelings without judgment. If you feel lost and directionless, you must cultivate your masculine. Make a schedule, clean your room, fulfill a promise you made to yourself. Take one small, concrete step toward a goal. The child born from this sacred inner marriage, this constant, dynamic dance between being and doing, is true wisdom. It is the enlightened heart, the effective hand. This union opens the channel through which your soul can speak to you directly, without distortion. It is the birth of your own inner oracle, the clear, unerring language of intuition. From the sacred inner marriage of the masculine and the feminine, a child is born. This child is not a concept, but a living faculty within you. It is the voice of your integrated soul. This child is called wisdom, and its native tongue is the language of intuition. Intuition is the direct line of communication between your human personality and your timeless true self. It is the whisper of the universe, spoken directly into your heart. It bypasses the noisy debating chamber of the rational mind and the turbulent theater of emotion, delivering pure, unadulterated knowing. To learn this language, to trust its guidance above all other external and internal voices, is the most essential skill on the path of awakening. It is the shift from following a map to navigating by an inner star. For your entire life, you have been trained to rely on the map. The map is your rational mind, your intellect. It is an incredibly useful and valuable tool. It is a detailed chart, painstakingly assembled from the data of your past experiences, the knowledge you have learned in schools, and the collective wisdom and warnings of your culture. The map can tell you where the safe roads are, where the dangers lie, and the most logical route from one known point to another. It is the voice of reason and caution, and it is essential for navigating the known world. But the map has a fundamental limitation. It only shows you where others have already been. It can never lead you into a new territory. It can never guide you to the unique destiny that is yours and yours alone. The map can help you build a life, but it cannot help you fulfill a soul. Your intuition, however, is not a map. It is an internal, infallible compass. The needle of this compass does not point to a geographical north. It points toward your personal true north, direction of your highest growth, your greatest joy, and your most authentic expression. Unlike the map, the compass does not show you the entire journey. It does not provide a 10-step plan or guarantee a safe passage. It often gives you only one piece of information, the direction of the very next step. To live by intuition is to trust this compass, even when it points you away from the well-trodden highways on the map and asks you to step into the uncharted wilderness. It requires a new kind of faith, not in an external authority, but in the unwavering wisdom of your own core. The greatest challenge for the seeker is learning to distinguish the quiet, steady voice of intuition from the loud, frantic voice of fear. The ego, the lonely king, is a master of disguise and will often masquerade its fears as cautionary wisdom. This discernment is critical. You must learn the feel, the texture, the frequency of these two distinct voices. The voice of fear is always loud. It is urgent, demanding, and often creates a feeling of contraction and tension in your body. It is dramatic and loves to tell stories, usually catastrophic ones. It speaks in the language of what if? What if you fail? What if they reject you? What if you lose everything? Fear is rooted in the past, projecting old wounds and traumas onto an imaginary future. It is heavy with emotion, anxiety, dread, panic. It feels complicated and creates confusion. It is a noisy, frantic alarm bell, warning you to retreat back to the safety of the known map. The voice of intuition is the complete opposite. It is almost always quiet. It is a whisper, a gentle nudge, a subtle feeling. It is calm, neutral, and steady. It carries no emotional charge. It does not create a feeling of contraction. It often brings a sense of inner rightness, peace, and expansion, even if the guidance itself seems illogical or scary to the mind. Intuition does not tell elaborate stories. It is simple and direct. It does not speak in what if. It speaks in simple statements of knowing, turn left here, call that person. This is not the right job for you. Trust this. It is not rooted in the past or future. It exists only in the timeless present. It feels clean, clear, and simple. It is the calm, quiet needle of the compass, pointing the way without fanfare or drama. To hear this quiet language, you must first learn to quiet the noise. You cannot hear a whisper in the middle of a shouting match. This is why practices like meditation are so vital. By sitting in silence, you allow the frantic voices of the ego and its fears to settle, like sediment in a still glass of water. In the clarity that emerges, the whisper of intuition can finally be heard. You must also learn to listen with your body. Intuition rarely speaks in full sentences in your head. That is the domain of the intellect. It speaks in the language of somatic intelligence. It is the gut feeling, the knot of unease in your stomach that tells you something is wrong, even when everything looks right on the surface. It is the sudden shiver down your spine, the aha moment that feels like a wave of energy washing over you. It is the feeling of a heavy weight on your heart, or the expansive, light feeling of an open heart. Your body is the resonant sounding board for your soul. To ignore its signals is to ignore your compass. Like any skill, trusting your intuition requires practice. You must build the muscle of faith. Start small. When you get a quiet nudge to take a different route home from work, follow it without needing a reason. When the name of a friend you haven't spoken to in years pops into your head, pick up the phone and call them. When you are choosing between two options and one simply feels lighter, choose that one, even if the other makes more logical sense. Treat your life as an intuitive laboratory. Act on these small nudges and observe the results. Keep a journal. Write down the intuitive hit, how it felt, and what happened when you followed it. As you gather your own personal evidence of its reliability, you provide your rational mind, the map reader, with the proof it needs to begin to trust the compass. The map reader will slowly learn to relax, understanding that there is another, deeper intelligence at work. To live a life guided by intuition is to enter into a new relationship with the universe. You are no longer trying to figure everything out, to control every variable, to plan for every contingency. You are learning to dance with the mystery. You are learning to trust the next step without needing to see the entire staircase. This is the ultimate act of faith in yourself and in the intelligence that animates all of life. It requires you to release your white-knuckled grip on the need for certainty and control. It requires you to let go of the illusion that you are the one driving the ship. This profound act of letting go, this trust in a higher wisdom, is the very essence of the art of surrender. You have begun to listen to the quiet language of your intuition, the inner compass pointing you toward your true north. To follow this compass, especially when it guides you away from the familiar map of logic, requires a profound trust. The ultimate expression of this trust, the final graduation from the school of the ego, is the practice of the art of surrender. No other word in the spiritual vocabulary is so deeply misunderstood by the human mind, and yet no other concept holds such a powerful key to liberation. The ego hears the word surrender, and it recoils in horror. To the ego, to surrender is to fail. It is to give up, to lose, to be defeated. It is the admission of weakness, the white flag waved in the face of a hostile world. This is the ego's definition, born of its deepest fear of losing control. But we are not here to listen to the ego. We are here to awaken to the truth of the soul. In the language of the soul, surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It is not passive resignation. It is active, intelligent trust. It is not giving up. It is giving over. It is the conscious and deliberate act of relinquishing the small, frantic, and often misguided plans of your personal will to the vast, benevolent, and infinitely intelligent will of the universe. It is the moment you stop fighting the river of life and learn to flow with it. Imagine you are in a wide, powerful river. The ego believes its job is to get to a specific point on the opposite bank, and it believes it must do so by swimming directly against the current. So you struggle. You kick and thrash and flail your arms. You expend all of your energy fighting the immense power of the water. You are filled with tension, anxiety, and a desperate fear of being swept away. You are so focused on your struggle, on fighting the river, that you fail to notice the beauty of the sky above or the lush forest on the banks. Despite your heroic effort, you find you are making little progress, and you are becoming utterly exhausted. This is the life of resistance, the life of the ego's control. Surrender is the moment of divine intelligence when, at the point of exhaustion, you realize the futility of your struggle. It is the decision to stop fighting. You cease your frantic kicking. You let go of the tension in your muscles. You take a deep breath, turn onto your back, and simply float. You give yourself over to the water, trusting it to hold you. In that moment, everything changes. The river, which was once your adversary, is now your ally. Its immense power is no longer something to be fought against, but something that carries you. You are moving, effortlessly, gracefully, downstream. You may not arrive at the exact point on the bank the ego had chosen, but you will be carried toward a destination that the river, in its infinite wisdom, knows is right for you. And on the journey, your eyes are open to the sky, your ears are open to the sounds of nature, and your heart is open to the peace of the journey itself. You have not given up. You have aligned yourself with a power far greater than your own. This is the art of surrender. It is a profound trust that you are not floating in a river of random chaos, but in a river of divine intelligence. The same intelligence that choreographs the dance of galaxies, that guides a seed to break through the soil and reach for the sun, that orchestrates the billions of intricate processes happening in your own body without any conscious effort from you. This is the intelligence you are surrendering to. You are letting go of your small, fearful blueprint and making space for the universe's grand design. You are admitting that your personal view from the boat is limited, and you are choosing to trust the wisdom of the entire river. This practice can be woven into the fabric of your daily life. It begins with the small things. You are in a disagreement with someone. The ego wants to be right. It wants to win. To surrender is to let go of the need to have the last word, to release the tight knot of self-righteousness in your chest, and to value connection over correctness. You are working on a project. The masculine principle within you has done its part. It has focused, planned, and acted. It has done its absolute best. Now, the feminine principle must complete the cycle. You must surrender the outcome. You release it to the universe, trusting that the result will be for the highest good of all, rather than desperately trying to control every variable. You plant the seed, you water it, and then you allow the sun and the soil to do their work, without digging it up every day to check on its progress. You practice surrender when you release your rigid timelines. The ego has an impatient schedule for everything: when you should be married, when you should be successful, when you should be healed. Surrender is trusting in divine timing. It is the knowing that things unfold in a perfect rhythm, even when that rhythm does not match the frantic pace of your mind. Above all, you practice surrender by saying yes to the present moment. Whatever is happening, whatever form this moment takes, you first cease your inner war against it. This yes is not a statement of passive approval. It does not mean you will not act to change things. It is the cessation of resistance. It is the acknowledgement of what is. This inner acceptance stops the drain of energy caused by fighting reality, freeing that energy to be used for wise and effective action. This is the ultimate secret of the conscious creator. The creative process is a dance between action and surrender. You use your focused attention to create the inner mold of your desire, to feel the wish fulfilled. That is your part. That is the masculine act of doing. Then you must completely let go. You must surrender the how, the when, the where, and the who to the infinite intelligence of the universe. That is the feminine act of trust. This combination of focused intention, followed by total release, is what allows for miracles. It is what allows the universe to orchestrate events in ways far more ingenious and beautiful than your limited mind could ever conceive. By surrendering the outcome, you are no longer attached to it. You have unhooked your happiness from a specific result. And in this act of letting go, in this release from the prison of needing things to be a certain way, you discover something extraordinary. You discover true and unshakable freedom. You have practiced the art of surrender, learning to float in the great river of life instead of fighting its current. From this surrender, a profound and beautiful state begins to blossom within you. It is the state of true freedom. But this is not the freedom that the ego imagines, the freedom to have whatever it wants or to do whatever it pleases. That is merely a more sophisticated form of bondage. The freedom we speak of is far deeper, far more liberating. It is the freedom from the desperate need for things to be a certain way. It is the unshackable peace that comes from the practice of non-attachment. The mind, conditioned by the ego, hears non-attachment and imagines a state of cold indifference, a detached and joyless existence. This is a profound misunderstanding. Indifference is a form of fear. It is an emotional wall you build around your heart to avoid being hurt. It is a clenched, closed-off state. Non-attachment is the very opposite. It is a state of radical openness, of profound and fearless love. It is the ability to engage with life fully, to love with your entire being, to appreciate beauty with breathtaking intensity, precisely because your inner peace is no longer dependent on any of it. It is to love the flower without needing to possess it, to admire the sunset without grieving its passing. It is love without the poison of fear. To understand this, imagine your mind is a hand. For most of your life, your hand has been a clenched fist. You find something you believe you need for your happiness, a person, a possession, a status, an idea, and you grasp it tightly. Feel the tension in that fist. Notice the strain in the knuckles, the tightness in the forearm. That tension is the feeling of attachment. It is a state of constant, low-grade anxiety, because your mind is perpetually whispering, "What if I lose this? I must hold on tighter." Furthermore, a clenched fist cannot receive anything new. In your desperate effort to hold on to one thing, you close yourself off from the infinite gifts the universe wishes to offer you. Non-attachment is the practice of consciously uncurling that fist. It is the decision to live with an open hand. Feel the difference. Feel the release of tension, the sense of ease, the feeling of readiness. An open hand can hold things lightly. It can pick up a beautiful stone, admire its texture and color, feel its weight, and then place it back on the ground without a sense of loss. It can allow the sands of time to slip through its fingers without panic. An open hand is also a hand that is ready to receive. It is open to the unexpected, the new, the graceful. The clenched fist believes in scarcity, desperately guarding its single treasure. The open hand lives in a state of abundance, knowing that it is part of a boundless flow. The fist can hold only one thing. The open hand can hold the entire universe. Let us look at the arenas where the fist of attachment clenches the tightest. It clenches around possessions. We are taught to believe that our identity is enhanced by what we own. The car, the house, the clothes become extensions of our ego. We then live in fear of losing them, of them being damaged or stolen. Non-attachment is not about renouncing possessions. It is about enjoying them without being owned by them. It is to use things with gratitude while they are with you, and to let them go with grace when they are gone, knowing that your true worth is untouched. The fist clenches most tightly around people. We confuse love with attachment. True love is expansive and freeing. It says, "I delight in your existence, and I desire your highest freedom and happiness." Attachment is contracting and possessive. It says, "I need you to be a certain way to make me happy. I am afraid of losing you because my peace depends on you." This is not love. It is using another person to fill a void within yourself. The greatest gift you can give to anyone you love, a partner, a child, a friend, is your own non-attachment. It is the gift of allowing them to be who they truly are, without the immense burden of being responsible for your happiness. It is to love them with an open hand. And perhaps most subtly, the fist clenches around our own beliefs and identity. The ego is deeply attached to being right. It clings to its opinions, political, spiritual, personales, if they were life rafts. It identifies so strongly with its own story, its history of wounds and triumphs, that it cannot imagine being anything else. Non-attachment in this realm is the hallmark of true wisdom. It is the ability to hold your own beliefs lightly, to be open to new perspectives, to learn from everyone and everything. It is the willingness to let go of who you thought you were, in order to become who you truly are. The root of all suffering, as the great sages have taught, is attachment. A desire in itself is not painful. It is the attachment to the outcome, the belief that "I must have this to be okay," that creates the suffering. When your peace is conditional upon an external event, you have made yourself a slave to circumstance. Non-attachment is the declaration of your independence. Your peace is no longer for sale. It is generated from within, and therefore it cannot be taken from you. The practice, then, is to become a constant guardian of your own inner posture. Throughout your day, in every interaction, and with every desire that arises, ask yourself this simple question: is my inner hand clenched or open? When you are arguing, is your hand clenched around the need to be right? When you are with a loved one, is your hand clenched in a grip of expectation? When you think of your future, is your hand clenched around a single specific outcome? Simply asking the question, simply noticing the tension of the fist, is often enough to begin the gentle, conscious process of uncurling. You breathe and you let go. You unclench. This state of inner freedom, this open-handed engagement with life, changes your perception of the world. When you are no longer grasping at things, you are free to truly see them. You are no longer viewing the world through the narrow filter of "what can I get from this?" Your personal agenda recedes. In this spaciousness, the illusion of separation begins to dissolve. You stop seeing a world of separate objects, separate people, separate events, all to be collected or feared. Instead, you begin to perceive the underlying unity, the sacred, interconnected web that joins all of creation. You see the same life force that animates you, animating the tree, the bird, and the person standing before you. And in this state of clear, unobstructed seeing, you can finally perceive the divine light that shines at the heart of every single being. You are able to see the Christ in every face. You are now standing in the wide, open space of non-attachment, your hands unclenched, your heart at ease. From this vantage point of freedom, the world begins to look different. When you are no longer grasping at people and things to fill a void within you, you are finally free to see them as they truly are. The frantic need to categorize, to judge, to acquire or to repel begins to dissolve, and in the silence of your non-attached mind, a new perception dawns. The illusion of ultimate separation, the foundational belief of the ego, begins to crumble, and you start to perceive the luminous, unbroken thread of unity that is woven through the entire tapestry of creation. This perception is the ability to see the Christ in every face. Let us be clear from the outset. When we speak of the Christ, we are not speaking of a single historical man from 2,000 years ago. To confine this vast cosmic principle to one person in time is the very limitation we seek to transcend. We are using the word in its mystical Gnostic sense. The Christ, or the Logos, is the divine spark of God that is born within every human soul. It is the indwelling presence of the Creator in the creation. It is the true self, the Atman, the Buddha nature. It is the inner light. This light is your true identity, and it is the true identity of every single person you will ever meet. The great work of your life is not to become this light, but to realize you have always been this light. And the gateway to realizing it in yourself is to practice seeing it in all others. To understand this, let us use a metaphor. Imagine that every person in the world is a lamp. Your own personality, your body, your history, your beliefs, your wounds, and your talents, all of these make up your unique lampshade. Some lampshades are ornate and beautifully colored. Some are plain and simple. Some are cracked and damaged. Some are thick with the dust and grime of a difficult life. The ego is a connoisseur of lampshades. It spends its entire existence comparing them. This lampshade is more beautiful than mine. That one is broken and ugly. My lampshade is the only one with the right color and shape. The ego's world is a world of endless, competing separate lampshades. But the spiritual eye is not interested in the lampshade. The spiritual eye learns to look deeper. It knows that inside every single lampshade, regardless of its outer condition, there is a light bulb. And it knows that every single light bulb is identical. It shines with the same eternal, unwavering brilliance. This light bulb is the Christ within, the true self. Furthermore, it knows that all of these countless light bulbs are plugged into the very same single infinite source of electricity. This is God, Source, the Absolute. There is only one light, appearing as many. To see the Christ in every face is to train your perception to look past the fascinating, distracting, and often misleading lampshade of personality, and to recognize the familiar, sacred light that is shining within. This is not just a beautiful idea, it is a profound spiritual practice. Begin with those it is easy to see. Bring to mind someone you love dearly, a child, a partner, a cherished friend. Look past their personality, past their habits, even past your memories of them, and connect with the pure, luminous essence of their being. That feeling of unconditional love and recognition you have for them is the feeling of your light acknowledging their light. It is easy and natural. Now, you must take this practice into the laboratory of your difficult relationships. Bring to mind someone who challenges you, someone with whom you have conflict, someone who has hurt you. The ego will immediately fixate on their lampshade. It will point out all its flaws, its cracks, its disagreeable colors. It will replay the stories of all the unpleasantness associated with this particular lamp. This is where your sacred work begins. Take a breath, and with conscious intent, choose to look deeper. Look through the lampshade of their difficult personality, their angry words, their fearful actions. Look for the faint glimmer of the light bulb within. It is there. It is always there. Silently, in your own heart, speak to that light. You can say to yourself, "The lampshade of your personality is thick with the dust of fear and pain. You have forgotten the brilliant light that you are, but I will not make the same mistake. I see the light in you. I see the Christ in you, behind the mask you are wearing. I recognize your true self, even if you do not." This is not an act of forgiveness in the traditional sense. It is an act of seeing what is eternally true. It is an act of holding a space of recognition for the divinity in another, even when they are behaving in the most undivine ways. When you practice this, something miraculous begins to happen. First, judgment dissolves. How can you truly judge another when you know their core is made of the same divine substance as your own? You may not condone their behavior. The scratches and dents on their lampshade debut can no longer condemn the being itself. Second, true compassion is born. You begin to understand that all hurtful actions, all anger, all cruelty arise from a single tragic cause, a person's own painful disconnect from their inner light. Their lampshade has become so thick that they are living in their own inner darkness. Their actions are not malice. They are the desperate cries of a soul that is lost and afraid. You are no longer reacting to their anger. You are responding to their pain. When you consistently practice seeing the light in others, you call that light forth. People will begin to respond to you in new ways. By refusing to engage with their ego, with their lampshade, you are giving it nothing to fight against. By speaking silently to their true self, you are inviting it to step forward. You are reminding them, on a deep, energetic level, of who they really are. And here is the ultimate secret of this practice. The light you are so diligently seeking in others is the very same light that is seeking to be more fully known in you. Every time you recognize the Christ in another, You are fanning the flames of the Christ within yourself. You eventually realize that it is not my light and your light. There is only one light, one consciousness, experiencing itself through countless points of view. The face of the other is another one of your own faces. To know this is to end the illusion of separation forever. This new way of seeing, this profound recognition of the divinity in all things, must now be reflected in a new way of communicating. You cannot see the sacred in another and then speak to them with careless or cruel words. Your perception must sanctify your expression. It must transform the very vibration of your spoken word. You have trained your inner eye to look past the lampshade of personality and see the divine, universal light that shines within every being. This new perception is the dawn of compassion and the end of judgment. But sight alone is incomplete. This inner realization must now find an outer expression. The bridge between what you see in the silence of your soul and how you interact with the world is your word. Your speech is the vessel that carries your consciousness out into the world. You must now learn to speak from the sacred space you see from. You must learn that words are not mere sounds. They are creative, vibrational forces. They are spells you are casting all day long, shaping your reality and the reality of those around you. In the beginning of one of the most mystical Gospels, it is written, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This word, or logos in the original Greek, does not mean a spoken syllable. It means the divine principle of creation, the intelligent, ordering force that brings forth worlds from the formless void. Every word you speak is a tiny vibrating fractal of that original creative word. Each word carries a specific frequency, a specific energetic signature that goes out into the quantum field and begins to organize reality around it. Words do not simply describe your world, they actively prescribe it. To speak is to prophesize. You are prophesizing your own future with every sentence you utter. Imagine the universe as a vast, perfectly still mountain lake. Its surface is pure potential, awaiting an impression. Every word you speak is a stone that you cast into this lake. A word spoken in anger or criticism is a sharp, jagged stone. When it hits the water, it creates a chaotic, jarring splash, and the ripples that spread out are discordant and disruptive. These ripples touch every shore of your life. A word spoken with love or encouragement is a smooth, perfectly rounded stone. When it is dropped into the lake, it creates a harmonious, rhythmic pattern of concentric circles. These ripples spread out gracefully, lifting everything they touch. You are the one who chooses the stones. You are the source of the ripples. Do not be fooled into thinking your words are insignificant. There are no insignificant words. Consider the power of the words you speak to others. When you engage in gossip, you are throwing psychic mud into the universal lake, dirtying the water for yourself, for the person you are speaking to, and for the person you are speaking about. When you criticize someone, you are energizing the frequency of judgment, a frequency that must, by law, return to you, its source. Conversely, when you speak a word of genuine blessing to another, when you offer a sincere compliment, when you express heartfelt gratitude, you are activating a high, harmonious frequency within your own being. That beautiful ripple blesses you on its way out, and it blesses you again as its effects are reflected back to you. To bless the world is to bless yourself. To curse the world is to curse yourself. This is the simple, inescapable physics of consciousness. Even more potent than the words you speak to others are the words you speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue, your self-talk, is the constant stream of spells that forms the very foundation of your life experience. The two most powerful creative words in any language are I aim. Whatever follows these two words is a direct command to the universe. It is a declaration of being that the mirror of reality will immediately begin to work to confirm. For years, you have been unconsciously casting negative spells upon yourself. When you miss your keys, you say, "I am so stupid." That is a curse. When you look at your bills, you say, "I am always broke." That is a curse. When you feel a minor ache, you say, "I am getting sick." That is a curse. You are commanding your subconscious mind and the universe to create these realities for you, and they dutifully obey. The practice of conscious creation requires a profound vibrational hygiene. It requires you to become the vigilant guardian of your own mouth and mind. You must place every thought and every word on trial before you allow it to be expressed. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this kind? Is this necessary? Is this empowering? You must begin a verbal diet, consciously choosing to eliminate all words of complaint, blame, and negativity. This is not about being inauthentic or pretending you don't have challenges. You can acknowledge a situation without energizing its negative aspects. Instead of saying, I am sick, you can say, my body is in the process of healing. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, you can say, I am choosing to focus my financial resources elsewhere right now. The shift is subtle, but its vibrational impact is monumental. Begin to consciously use the power of I am to affirm the reality you choose to inhabit. This is not about lying to yourself. It is about speaking from the truth of your true self, not the temporary condition of your ego. Your ego may feel weak, but your true self is eternally strong. So you declare, I am strong. Your ego may feel confused, but your true self is a wellspring of wisdom. So you declare, I am guided by divine intelligence. You are aligning your spoken word with the highest truth of your being, creating a powerful ripple that calls that truth into fuller expression in your life. Speak of what you love. Speak of what you are grateful for. Speak of the beauty you see. Your words are the brushstrokes with which you paint the canvas of your days. Choose your colors with care. This mastery of the spoken word is a profound spiritual achievement. It aligns your outer expression with your inner seeing. You have learned to see the divine light in all, and now you are learning to speak to that light with words of power and grace. But the trinity of embodiment is not yet complete. Your seeing and your speaking must be made manifest in your physical presence, in your actions in the world. The word must be made flesh. Your vibration must be backed by your volition. This requires you to live a life of unwavering, unshakable integrity. You have trained your inner eye to look past the lampshade of personality and see the divine, universal light that shines within every being. This new perception is the dawn of compassion and the end of judgment. But sight alone is incomplete. This inner realization must now find an outer expression. The bridge between what you see in the silence of your soul and how you interact with the world is your word. Your speech is the vessel that carries your consciousness out into the world. You must now learn to speak from the sacred space you see from. You must learn that words are not mere sounds. They are creative, vibrational forces. They are spells you are casting all day long, shaping your reality and the reality of those around you. In the beginning of one of the most mystical Gospels, it is written, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This word, or logos in the original Greek, does not mean a spoken syllable. It means the divine principle of creation, the intelligent, ordering force that brings forth worlds from the formless void. Every word you speak is a tiny, vibrating fractal of that original creative word. Each word carries a specific frequency, a specific energetic signature that goes out into the quantum field and begins to organize reality around it. Words do not simply describe your world, they actively prescribe it. To speak is to prophesize. You are prophesizing your own future with every sentence you utter. Imagine the universe as a vast, perfectly still mountain lake. Its surface is pure potential, awaiting an impression. Every word you speak is a stone that you cast into this lake. A word spoken in anger or criticism is a sharp, jagged stone. When it hits the water, it creates a chaotic, jarring splash, and the ripples that spread out are discordant and disruptive. These ripples touch every shore of your life. A word spoken with love or encouragement is a smooth, perfectly rounded stone. When it is dropped into the lake, it creates a harmonious, rhythmic pattern of concentric circles. These ripples spread out gracefully, lifting everything they touch. You are the one who chooses the stones. You are the source of the ripples. Do not be fooled into thinking your words are insignificant. There are no insignificant words. Consider the power of the words you speak to others. When you engage in gossip, you are throwing psychic mud into the universal lake, dirtying the water for yourself, for the person you are speaking to, and for the person you are speaking about. When you criticize someone, you are energizing the frequency of judgment, a frequency that must, by law, return to you its source. Conversely, when you speak a word of genuine blessing to another, when you offer a sincere compliment, when you express heartfelt gratitude, you are activating a high, harmonious frequency within your own being. That beautiful ripple blesses you on its way out, and it blesses you again as its effects are reflected back to you. To bless the world is to bless yourself. To curse the world is to curse yourself. This is the simple, inescapable physics of consciousness. Even more potent than the words you speak to others are the words you speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue, your self-talk, is the constant stream of spells that forms the very foundation of your life experience. The two most powerful creative words in any language are, I aim. Whatever follows these two words is a direct command to the universe. It is a declaration of being that the mirror of reality will immediately begin to work to confirm. For years, you have been unconsciously casting negative spells upon yourself. When you miss your keys, you say, I am so stupid. That is a curse. When you look at your bills, you say, I am always broke. That is a curse. When you feel a minor ache, you say, I am getting sick. That is a curse. You are commanding your subconscious mind and the universe to create these realities for you, and they dutifully obey. The practice of conscious creation requires a profound vibrational hygiene. It requires you to become the vigilant guardian of your own mouth and mind. You must place every thought and every word on trial before you allow it to be expressed. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this kind? Is this necessary? Is this empowering? You must begin a verbal diet, consciously choosing to eliminate all words of complaint, blame, and negativity. This is not about being inauthentic or pretending you don't have challenges. You can acknowledge a situation without energizing its negative aspects. Instead of saying, I am sick, you can say, my body is in the process of healing. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, you can say, I am choosing to focus my financial resources elsewhere right now. The shift is subtle, but its vibrational impact is monumental. Begin to consciously use the power of I am to affirm the reality you choose to inhabit. This is not about lying to yourself. It is about speaking from the truth of your true self, not the temporary condition of your ego. Your ego may feel weak, but your true self is eternally strong. So you declare, I am strong. Your ego may feel confused, but your true self is a wellspring of wisdom. So you declare, I am guided by divine intelligence. You are aligning your spoken word with the highest truth of your being, creating a powerful ripple that calls that truth into fuller expression in your life. Speak of what you love. Speak of what you are grateful for. Speak of the beauty you see. Your words are the brushstrokes with which you paint the canvas of your days. Choose your colors with care. This mastery of the spoken word is a profound spiritual achievement. It aligns your outer expression with your inner seeing. You have learned to see the divine light in all, and now you are learning to speak to that light with words of power and grace. But the trinity of embodiment is not yet complete. Your seeing and your speaking must be made manifest in your physical presence, in your actions in the world. The word must be made flesh. Your vibration must be backed by your volition. This requires you to live a life of unwavering, unshakable integrity. You have learned to see the world through the eyes of the soul, recognizing the divine light in every face. You have learned to use your voice as an instrument of creation, aligning your spoken word with the frequency of love and truth. Now you must complete the sacred trinity of embodiment. Your seeing and your speaking must be united with your doing. The truth you perceive and the truth you pronounce must become the truth you live. You must walk your talk. This is the path of integrity. The word integrity comes from the Latin root integer, which means whole, complete, undivided. A life of integrity is a life where you are no longer fragmented. It is the end of the great divide between the person you know you are in your deepest heart and the person you present to the world. It is when your thoughts, your words, and your actions are all singing in perfect harmonious chorus. This state of wholeness is not simply about conventional morality or being an honest person. It is a state of profound energetic coherence. Think of your life as a great bridge, spanning the river between your inner world and your outer world. On one bank of the river is your true self, your soul, your deepest values, your intuition, your silent knowing. On the other bank is the world of action, your work, your relationships, your daily choices. Your life is the bridge that connects these two banks. A bridge with integrity is structurally sound. Its foundations are deep self-awareness, its pillars are strong, unshakable values, and its roadway is smooth and unbroken, the alignment of your words and deeds. Energy can flow across this bridge effortlessly, from the inner bank of intention to the outer bank of manifestation. There is no leakage, no loss of power. This bridge is trustworthy. It can bear the weight of any challenge and any responsibility. It is a thing of beauty and strength. A life that lacks integrity is a bridge that is structurally compromised. Its foundations are shallow, its pillars are cracked with compromised values. Its roadway is warped and full of potholes. The potholes of saying yes when you mean no, of making promises you do not keep, of acting in ways that betray your own inner knowing. To live on such a bridge is a state of constant, low-grade stress. You are always worried it will collapse. It is exhausting to live this way, because you are constantly leaking life force energy through the cracks of your own inner contradictions. You are at war with yourself, and this inner conflict inevitably projects itself outward as a life of struggle and chaos. The practice of building integrity begins with the most sacred relationship you will ever have, your relationship with yourself. It begins with the sanctity of your own word to yourself. When you decide you will wake up early to meditate, and you do it, you build integrity. When you promise yourself you will no longer engage in a habit that harms you, and you honor that promise, you build integrity. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you are telling your subconscious mind, I am trustworthy, I am powerful, I am the authority in my own life. Conversely, each time you break a promise to yourself, you commit a small act of self-betrayal. You erode your own self-respect and weaken your personal power. You cannot expect to be a person of your word to others if you are not first a person of your word to yourself. From this foundation of self-integrity, you naturally extend it into the world. You become a person whose yes is a solid promise and whose no is a clear and respected boundary. There is no gap between the face you wear in public and the face you see in the mirror. You are authentic. People feel safe in your presence because your energy is coherent and whole. They can sense, on an intuitive level, that what they see is what they get. You are no longer performing, no longer wearing a mask, no longer wasting energy trying to manage other people's perceptions of you. You are simply, powerfully, yourself. The highest form of integrity is spiritual integrity. This is the unwavering loyalty to the whisper of your own intuition, to the guidance of your inner compass. It is having the courage to live the truth you know, even when it is inconvenient, unpopular, or frightening. It means choosing the action that feels expansive and true in your soul over the action that seems logical or safe to your mind. It is aligning your life not with the expectations of society, but with the directives of your own deepest self. This requires immense courage, for it often means walking a path that no one else can understand, but it is the only path that leads to true fulfillment. When you commit to living a life of integrity, you are making a powerful statement to the universe. You are declaring that you are no longer available for internal conflict. You are no longer willing to leak your creative energy through hypocrisy and self-betrayal. You are choosing to become a whole, integrated, and coherent conduit for divine energy. This coherence is magnetic. The universe responds powerfully to a being who is undivided. Your intentions become clearer, your actions become more effective, and the mirror of reality reflects back to you this newfound state of wholeness and strength. And as you walk this path, as you diligently align your actions with your inner truth, you will discover the ultimate reward of a life lived with integrity. When the inner war is over, When there is no longer a battle between what you believe and how you live, what remains? The answer is peace. Not a fleeting, temporary peace that depends on whether things are going your way. It is a deep, structural, unshakable peace. It is the peace that comes from being whole. It is the natural, resting state of an integrated soul. This peace is not something you have to search for. It is what you are when you stop being divided against yourself. You have walked the path of integrity, diligently working to close the gap between your inner truth and your outer expression. You have aligned your sight, your speech, and your actions with the wisdom of your soul. The reward for this great and courageous work is not something the world can give you, nor something it can take away. The reward is a state of being that is the natural inheritance of a whole, undivided soul. The reward is peace. But this is not the fragile, conditional peace that the world speaks of, the fleeting calm that depends on having no problems, no conflicts, and no challenges. That is merely a temporary truce in the midst of life's battles. The peace that is born from integrity is an unshakable peace, a peace that can exist in the very heart of the storm. It is the peace spoken of by the mystics, the peace which passeth all understanding. And it is a peace the rational mind cannot comprehend because it defies logic. The mind believes that peace is the result of a perfect set of external circumstances. It says, "When I have solved all my problems, then I will be at peace." The soul knows that peace is not the absence of the storm. It is the presence of an unshakable center within the storm. It is a fundamental quality of your being, not a byproduct of your doing. This peace can hold sorrow in one hand and joy in the other. It can witness failure and success with the same steady gaze. It is the deep, silent stillness of the ocean floor, which remains undisturbed regardless of the turbulent waves crashing on the surface. To understand this, imagine that you are a great, ancient oak tree standing in the center of a field. Your life in the world, your work, your relationships, your activities are the leaves and branches of this tree. The winds of change will blow. The storms of life will come. There will be seasons of loss where your leaves are stripped away. There will be violent gales of conflict that lash your branches. From the outside, you may appear to be in turmoil. The ego, which identifies only with the leaves and branches, will panic during the storm, believing it is being destroyed. But your spiritual practice, your commitment to integrity and self-awareness, has not been about strengthening the leaves. It has been about deepening your roots. Your roots are your connection to the silent, stable darkness of the earth, the ground of your own being. They are your anchor in the timeless, formless dimension of the true self. The wind cannot touch your roots. The lightning cannot scorch them. The chaos of the surface world has no power in the deep stillness where you are truly planted. The strength of the oak tree is not measured by its ability to avoid the storm, but by the depth of its root system. A life of spiritual practice is a life dedicated to growing these roots, so that when the inevitable storms of life arrive, you may bend, you may lose some leaves, but you will not be broken, you will not be uprooted. Every time you sit in meditation, you are sending your roots deeper. Every time you choose to observe a thought rather than become it, you are sending your roots deeper. Every time you feel an emotion without resistance, every time you act from your intuitive truth, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you are weaving a stronger, deeper connection to the unshakable ground of your soul. This is the true purpose of your practice. It is not to create a life free of problems, but to become a being who is free in the midst of problems. You can learn to access this inner anchor at any moment. In the middle of a stressful day, a difficult conversation, or a moment of anxiety, pause. Take one conscious breath, and with your inner attention, sink your awareness down. Let it drop from the noisy chatter of your mind, down through the sensations in your body, down into the deep, silent, stable center of your being. Feel for the stillness beneath the noise. Feel for the peace beneath the turmoil. Feel for your roots. You may only be able to hold your attention there for a second or two, but that is enough. In that second, you have remembered who you truly are. You have touched the source of your strength. You are no longer just a leaf being tossed in the wind. You are the entire, deeply rooted tree. When you learn to live from this place, you become a powerful healing presence in the world. You become the eye of the storm. While others are reacting in panic and fear, you can remain centered and calm. Your peace is not a fragile thing to be protected. It becomes a radiant force that emanates from you. It silently gives others permission to find the peace within themselves. You do not have to speak of peace. You become a living demonstration of it. Your decisions become wiser, your actions more effective, because they are born from a place of clarity, not from a place of frantic reactivity. You no longer fear life, because you know that no matter what happens to the branches, your core is safe. And from this state of unshakable peace, a final, profound transformation occurs. The frantic energy of the seeker dissolves. The desperate search for happiness, for fulfillment, for meaning in the external world comes to a quiet and gentle end. You have been searching for a treasure all over the world, only to return home and find it was buried in your own garden all along. The wellspring of peace, joy, and love is within you. You are what you have been seeking. When this realization truly lands, your entire orientation to life shifts. You are no longer primarily concerned with what you can get from the world. Your cup is full, and it begins to overflow. Your focus shifts from seeking a purpose to living as a purpose. You are no longer asking what life can give to you. You are asking what you can give to life. You have found the source of unshakable peace within you. The frantic outward search for happiness has come to its natural and gentle end. You have discovered that the kingdom of heaven is not a destination to be reached, but a state of being to be realized. You have come home to yourself. In the quiet stillness that follows this profound homecoming, the ego, in its final and most subtle guise, will arise with one last urgent question. So, what now? What is my purpose? What great thing am I meant to do? For the ego, being is never enough. It needs a mission, a special role, a grand title to add to its identity. It believes that purpose is something you must find, achieve, or earn, a final trophy that will prove your worth. This belief is the last chain that keeps you tethered to the world of striving and becoming. Today, we break that chain. You are about to receive a truth that will liberate you from the immense pressure of finding your purpose. The truth is this: your primary purpose in this life is not to do anything. It is simply to be. Your purpose is to be the most authentic, complete, and fully awakened expression of your true self that you can possibly be. That is the entire work. All the restore, the doing, all the creating, all the serving is a natural, effortless byproduct of that state of being. Consider the sun. The sun does not struggle to fulfill its purpose. It does not attend seminars on how to be a better star. It does not worry about whether it is shining correctly or providing enough warmth. It has no agenda. The sun's purpose is not something it does. It is a consequence of what it is. It shines because it is the sun, and in the simple, magnificent act of being itself, it warms planets, it fuels ecosystems, it inspires poets, and it makes all of life on this planet possible. Its doing flows effortlessly from its being. Consider a rose. A rose does not exhaust itself trying to produce a beautiful fragrance. It does not consult a manual on the proper technique for opening its petals. Its purpose is simply to be a rose. It draws nourishment from the soil, it opens itself to the light, and it allows its own unique, divine essence to unfold. The breathtaking beauty and the intoxicating scent that we so admire are not the result of its effort. They are the natural fragrance of its being. You are no different. You have spent your life striving to do, believing that your actions would define you. Now you are invited to simply be, and to allow your actions to be a natural consequence of your state of being. Who you are is infinitely more important than what you do. The universe does not respond to your actions. It responds to the level of consciousness from which you perform those actions. An act of charity performed from an egoic need for recognition creates a very different ripple in the fabric of reality than a simple, unseen act of kindness performed from a heart overflowing with love. Before you ask, "What should I do?" you must first anchor yourself in the answer to the question, "Who am I?" When you are fully anchored in the truth of your being as peace, as love, as the silent, aware presence, your doing will take care of itself. The ego will hear this and scream in protest. If I just focus on being, it will argue, I will become lazy, passive, and accomplish nothing. This is the great fear of the mind that is addicted to control and effort. But the state of being we speak of is not a state of passive inaction. It is a state of dynamic, creative potential. It is the difference between frantically rowing a boat against the current and hoisting your sail to be moved by the powerful, invisible wind. The ego believes only in the power of rowing, of muscular effort. The soul knows that true power comes from aligning yourself with the wind of inspiration and allowing it to carry you. When you are living from your true self, you will not be lazy, you will be moved, you will be called, you will be inspired to act, not from a place of anxious striving, but from a place of joyful, overflowing energy. The doing that arises from being is not a chore, it is a dance. So how do you discover what this inspired doing looks like for you? You do not look outside of yourself for a job title or a mission statement. You look inside, at the unique fragrance of your own soul. What makes you feel most alive? What activities cause you to lose all track of time? What do you love to do, not for any reward or recognition, but for the sheer joy of the act itself? These are the clues. These are the ways in which your specific essence loves to express itself. For one person, their purpose may manifest as creating beautiful art. For another, it may be raising children with conscious awareness. For a third, it may be the way they listen to another person with their full presence, creating a sacred space for healing. For another still, it may be simply tending a garden, bringing order and beauty to a small patch of earth. Do not belittle the form your purpose takes. The universe does not demand that you save the world. It asks only that you be yourself. Your gift to the world is the unique quality of your own awakened consciousness. When you enter a room, your peace becomes a silent blessing upon that room. When you speak, your integrity brings clarity. When you listen, your presence offers sanctuary. This is your true service. This is your true purpose. The specific actions you perform are secondary. They are merely the channels through which the fragrance of your being is released into the world. When you fully embrace this understanding, you are freed from the burden of life. You are no longer a separate person trying to force a result from the world. You relax, you open, you allow life, with a capital L, to live through you. You become a perfect instrument, a clear channel for divine intelligence to do its work. You are no longer the painter, but the paintbrush in the hand of God. This state of being a perfected, transparent vessel for the divine will is the esoteric meaning of what the Gnostic Gospels called becoming the Son of Man, the fully realized human being who has united the earthly and the divine within themselves. You have surrendered your personal will to the divine flow, and in doing so, you have discovered that your true purpose is not a task to be completed, but a state of being to be embodied. You have shifted your focus from the endless striving of doing to the profound power of simply being. In this state of authentic presence, you become a clear and open channel, a perfect instrument for life to express itself through you. And now, we must give a name to this perfected human instrument, this archetype of the fully realized soul. In the ancient Gnostic texts, this state of consciousness, this culmination of the spiritual journey, was known by a profound and often misunderstood title, the Son of Man. Let us immediately clear away the debris of centuries of misinterpretation. The term Son of Man has been viewed as the exclusive title of a single historical figure. In its original mystical context, its meaning is far more universal and potent. It does not mean the male child of a human. A better translation would be the child of humanity or the human one. It represents the archetypal perfected human being, the individual who has successfully completed the journey of incarnation, who has fully integrated the human and the divine, spirit and matter, heaven and earth. It is not a person to be worshipped from afar. It is the blueprint of your own highest potential. It is the promise of what you are capable of becoming. It is the destination you have been walking toward throughout this entire journey. To become the Son of Man is to become a living bridge. Imagine your being stands between two great realms. Below you is the realm of earth, the world of form, of time, of the physical body, of sensory experience. It is the beautiful, messy, tangible world of human life. Above you is the realm of heaven, the world of the formless, of eternity, of pure spirit, of unbound consciousness. The unawakened person lives entirely on the bank of earth, believing the material world is the only reality, unaware of the vast sky of consciousness above them. The ungrounded spiritual dreamer may try to live only in the sky, despising the body and the world, disconnected from their own humanity. The Son of Man, the perfected human, is the one who becomes the bridge itself. Your feet are planted firmly on the earth. You do not renounce your humanity. You embrace it completely. You feel the joy of friendship, the sting of loss, the pleasure of a simple meal, the weariness of a long day. You do not float above life. You engage with it fully, with courage and with love. You are in the world. But while your feet are on the earth, your head, your awareness, is in heaven. Your consciousness is rooted in the timeless, silent peace of your true self. You never forget your divine origin. You see the passing drama of human life from the vantage point of eternity. You are not swept away by the storms of the world because you know that you are not the storm. You are the sky. You are not of the world. To be this living bridge is to experience the sacred in the mundane, the eternal in the temporal, the divine in every human interaction. It is to bring the light of heaven down to the pathways of earth. A human being living from this integrated state exhibits a new set of qualities that are the natural expression of their unified consciousness. They are fearless, not because they are reckless, but because they no longer identify with the fragile ego or the mortal body. How can you fear failure when your worth is not tied to outcomes? How can you fear death when you know, with every fiber of your being, that you are eternal consciousness? They love unconditionally, because in looking at any other being, they see only a reflection of the same divine light that animates them. Their love is not a transactional emotion based on need or desire. It is a radiant state of being, a constant outpouring of recognition for the God in all things. Their creativity becomes spontaneous and joyful. They no longer create from the anxious ego, seeking fame or validation. They create because they are an open channel for divine inspiration. Art, solutions, and acts of service flow through them, unhindered by the blockages of fear or self-doubt. They are a conduit for the creative impulse of the universe itself, and they are radically free. They are no longer bound by the chains of cultural conditioning, religious dogma, or the opinions of others. Their law is the law of their own soul. Their authority is entirely internal, derived from their direct, unbroken connection to the divine source. They move through the world with a paradoxical combination of profound humility, knowing they are an instrument of a greater power, and unshakable authority, knowing the nature of that power which moves through them. As you listen to this description, do not make the mistake of believing this is a state reserved for saints and saviors of a bygone era. Do not see it as a distant, unattainable peak. This is the blueprint of your own soul. This is your inherent design. The entire journey we have taken together of quieting the ego, of taming the archons of the mind, of balancing the inner masculine and feminine, of learning the language of intuition, of living a life of integrity, has not been a process of building this bridge. It has been a process of uncovering it. The bridge was there all along, buried under the debris of fear, conditioning, and false identity. You are not becoming something new. You are remembering what you have always been. The one who has realized this state, who has become this living bridge between heaven and earth, does not simply keep this realization to themselves. The very nature of a bridge is to connect, to provide passage. The very nature of a realized being is to serve as a beacon. Their life ceases to be a personal story and becomes a universal teaching. They do not need to preach or proselytize. Their very presence becomes a transmission of peace, a silent invitation for others to begin their own journey of remembrance. They do not merely find the light. They become the light for the world. You have walked the great inner path. You have journeyed from the prison of perception to the realization of your true self, becoming a living bridge between the timeless and time, between heaven and earth. You have arrived. But the arrival is not an end. It is a new beginning. A bridge is not built to be admired as a solitary monument. It is built to provide passage for others. An instrument is not perfected to sit silent in a case. It is perfected to be played, to bring music into the world. The culmination of your awakening is not a private, personal achievement to be cherished in isolation. It is a sacred responsibility that now asks to be expressed. The final step of the inward journey is to turn your gaze outward and accept your true function. You are the light of the world. These are the words spoken by the Christed consciousness itself, a declaration of identity and purpose, not just for one man, but for every soul that awakens to its true nature. This is not a metaphor. It is your job description. When you hear this statement, "You are the light of the world," watch the movements of your ego closely. It will try to hijack this truth in one of two ways. The first is inflation. The ego will puff out its chest and say, "Yes, I am special. I am a savior. I am here to fix everyone." This is the ego attempting to own the light, to make it a personal accomplishment. The second is contraction. The ego will shrink in fear and say, "Who am I to be the light? I am not worthy. I am still flawed. It is arrogant to think I could be a light for others." This is the ego using false humility as an excuse to hide. Both are illusions. You must understand this. The light is not yours. It is the universal, divine light of God, and it shines through you. You do not generate it. You are simply a vessel for it. Your years of inner work, of cleaning the lens of perception, of polishing the mirror of your heart have been for the sole purpose of making you a clearer, more transparent pane of glass, so that this universal light can shine through you with less distortion. Your function is not to be the source of the light, but to be a willing and unobstructed window for it. To understand how this function works, consider this simple parable. Imagine a vast, dark room, representing a world lost in fear and ignorance. You, through your dedicated inner work, are a single lit candle. Your flame is steady and bright. Now, another candle, unlit, is brought to you. This is another person, a soul searching in the darkness. As the lit candle, what is your task? Do you lecture the unlit candle on the theory of combustion? Do you judge it for its lack of light? Number. The act of service is profoundly simple. You just lean in and touch your flame to its wick. In that moment, a new light flares up in the room. Consider what has just happened. Did you, the first candle, lose any of your own light? Number. Your flame is not diminished in the slightest. Has the room become darker or brighter? It has become twice as bright. Has your purpose as a lit candle been lessened or magnified? It has been magnified, fulfilled. This is the model for all true spiritual service. You do not lose anything by sharing your light. You only amplify its effect. Your purpose is not to be the lone light in the darkness, but to be an agent of ignition, helping to set the whole world ablaze with the light of consciousness. How then do you shine? How do you light other candles? This is the most beautiful part of all. You do not have to try. The sun does not try to shine. It simply is the sun. A candle does not strain to give off light. Its nature is to burn. Your shining is not an activity you must add to your to-do list. It is the natural, effortless radiance of your own authentic, awakened being. You are a light for the world when you walk into a chaotic office and remain centered in your own unshakable peace. Your peace is the light. You are a light for the world when you interact with a difficult person, and instead of reacting to their ego, you see the divine spark within them. Your compassion is the light. You are a light for the world when you speak your truth with quiet integrity in a world of compromise and falsehood. Your integrity is the light. You are a light for the world when a friend is in distress, and you offer them not cheap advice, but the deep, sacred space of your full presence and attention. Your presence is the light. Your very being becomes an act of service. You become a walking permission slip for others. When you live a life that is free from the grip of fear, you silently show others that freedom is possible for them too. When you heal from your deepest wounds, you become a living testament to the power of transformation, giving hope to those who believe they are broken beyond repair. When you live a life of joy and creative expression, you remind others of the dormant joy and creativity within their own souls. Your courage to be your authentic self awakens the courage in those around you. You do not need to teach. Your life becomes the teaching. This is not a heavy burden to be shouldered. It is the ultimate joy. After a long and arduous journey inward, from the darkness of the prison of the mind to the radiant light of the true self, you realize that the journey was just the preparation. The final joy is to turn around, to stand at the mouth of the cave you have just exited, and to become a beacon for all those who are still stumbling in the dark. You are no longer a seeker of the light. You have become the lighthouse. Your life finds its ultimate meaning not in what you achieve for yourself, but in the light you are able to shine for all. This is your function. This is your joy. This is your final identity. You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine. The journey in words is now complete. The path has been illuminated. The map has been drawn. But now you must put the map away. For the final step on any spiritual journey is the one you must take alone, from the mind into the heart, from knowing into being. Let these words now dissolve, like salt in water, leaving only the pure essence of their truth to be absorbed into your own consciousness. You came to this space, perhaps, as a storm-tossed ocean, your surface churned by the winds of fear and the currents of 1,000 frantic thoughts. You believed you were the storm. Through the sacred work of presence, of surrender, of unwavering self-love, the winds have calmed, the waves have subsided, the frantic struggle has ceased, and now you are a still lake, perfectly placid, utterly clear. In your stillness you reflect everything, and you distort nothing. You reflect the passing clouds of thought, the distant moon of memory, and the infinite, star-filled sky of pure consciousness. You have learned that your purpose is not to possess the stars, but to become a perfect mirror for their light. You have learned that your worth is not in the struggle, but in the stillness. And in this stillness, the lake and the sky, the observer and the observed, merge into a single, silent, luminous reality. Carry this final truth not as a memory in your mind, but as a living vibration in the marrow of your bones. The kingdom is not to be found, it is to be realized. The teacher is not without, it is within. And you, who began this journey as a seeker, must now accept the final, liberating revelation. You are not the seeker, you are the truth you have been seeking. There are no more words. Rest now, rest in this knowing. Sit in the silence that follows, and let it be your final teacher. Let it reveal to you all that 1,000 words could never express. Be still, and know you are home.